What up, everybody? Good morning and TGIF. Happy Friday, everybody. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios this morning. A big thanks for making us a part of your morning if you're already up and at it, whether you're listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, online. You can stream it up at sportstalk1051.com. Tell your Alexa devices to say, Yo, Alexa, go ahead and go play WAYY. Video streams also up and rolling YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and Facebook. Hopefully you're all if you already up and at it, been at it for a while here, hopefully you're off to a fantastic start. What do we have on our game plan for us this morning? Brew Crew leaving Chicago with a W, with a win, a 4-1 win yesterday for the Brewers. The first team in Major League Baseball to get to 80 wins and also setting a franchise record for the fastest they've ever gotten to 80 wins. Brewers yesterday, Quinn Priester going 4 1/3, giving up just one run, couple of hits. Pitch count was or excuse me, yeah, one earned run, giving up 3 hits, but had some issues with the walk. 5 walks, given 5 free base runners yesterday. Did get out of those jams, made it difficult. But Nick Mears coming in, and he's the one who gets credited with the win. Bryce Terang got things going in the top of the second, even though the wind was blowing in for the Crew. Terang continues his really hot streak, power hot streak here as of late, with that 2-run shot in the top of the second. Brewers adding a couple of insurance runs to make it 4-1 after the Cubs put up a run in the fifth to get that W. Brewers now return home to begin a weekend series starting tonight, going up against the San Francisco Giants, the return of one Willie Adames. Let's talk. I want to talk about that game yesterday, look ahead to the weekend series, but also Bryce Terang. I think, and this might be an AJM Automotive pump the brakes full throttle, and it's a pretty easy one. Bryce Terang is one of the most underrated players in Major League Baseball. Remember, beginning of the season, they did these top 10 rankings at each position. Like Garrett Mitchell was listed as a top 10 center fielder. Barely have seen Garrett Mitchell. That's what, like some sabermetrics thing. Yelich and Churio were both listed as a top 10 left fielder. Contreras, I believe, was a top catcher. Bryce Terang wasn't listed in the top 10. And that was after he had won the Platinum Glove, the Gold Glove. And I still feel like he does not get enough credit, does not get enough praise and attention for the player that he is. And right now, I mean, I think he's making people having to talk about him. I mean, he's displaying some insane power here right now, especially in the month of August, for cry eye. And you look at his offensive numbers so far this season, a 779 OPS, an on base of a 350. He's averaging 286, and he's got 14 home runs this season. For the career, just put this in perspective, okay? He's already hit over half of his career home runs this season. He's got 27 career home runs. He's got 14 this year, along with 21 stolen bases. Maybe he could get to the 2020 like we were talking about with Cheerio last year. But I believe that Bryce Terang is one of the more underrated players across Major League Baseball. And it's time that Major League Baseball, fans across Major League Baseball, the national media across Major League Baseball pays attention and gives some love to the player Bryce Terang, because he is just he's fantastic. He is absolutely fantastic. So over the Chicago Cubs. So we'll hit that up talk some baseball, especially when our guy Brandon Berg pops in starting in the 7 o'clock hour here. So we'll chat some Brewers with him as well. Speaking of Brandon, we'll do some local sports roundup with Brandon as the high school football season got underway yesterday. Some local games going on. Memorial falling, North falling in a little bit of a shootout with Menominee. Cadott picking up a win. Rice Lake picking up a win with just a few seconds left. I know Glenwood City also picking up a win. So River Falls picking up a win. Hudson defeating Memorial too. So, but we got more games on the docket for tonight. So we'll do a little local sports roundup with Brandon Berg, brought to you by our good friends Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Packers wrapping up their preseason practice yesterday, and it got a little chippy. If you didn't see some of the video posted out there by some fans who were in attendance at practice, but a couple of, shall we say, scuffles between the Packers and the Seahawks. So I think the guys are getting a little itchy to actually get out there and get some real hitting and some real games that matter. But with the final preseason game coming at you tomorrow, give me a list of Packers players that you have your eyes on, or a list of Packers players that they're on the bubble. They need to have that good performance tomorrow to win a job. Or maybe there's some guys that have just been not that great all preseason long, and doesn't matter what they do in this game. So, there's going to be probably a couple of players in this thing that are going to have a really good game that might make decisions a little bit tougher. It is very possible. We've seen this before with Green Bay, with other teams, players who go into this final game and they have the game of their life, or they just have an awesome performance and they win a job because of that one game. Do you think there is a player that is kind of at that spot right now where he's on that bubble, but if he goes out there and has himself a fantastic game, he's going to get that job? One player that I think, not think we know he has a job, but it's going to be really interesting to watch if he goes out there and has another dominating performance. Then it makes things a little bit more intriguing in terms of decisions on that offensive line. And I'm talking about Jordan Morgan right now. If Jordan Morgan goes out there and Jordan Morgan continues to do what he did in his first two preseason games, being one of the highly best rated offensive linemen, not allowing a single pressure, and just has these elite blocking grades, dude's going to push it to be the starting left tackle week 1 against the Detroit Lions. So that's an example of a player who we know has a job. Job is secured. Job is good. But maybe playing himself into that starting offensive line at the left tackle spot. So we'll talk some Packers preseason and look ahead to this final game before, believe it or not, we're less than 2 weeks away now from the official kickoff. But 2 weeks from this weekend is when the Packers season gets rolling. So what else do we got on the docket? As I mentioned, we'll do a little AJM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle. We'll do a little cream of the crop, bottom of the barrel. If you want to make your selections on there, you can do so by hitting us up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We'll catch up with Dr. Austin Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. He's coming up just past 7 o'clock for our Inside the Training Room segment. So we'll throw in some Packers injuries and some Brewers injuries too. Joey Ortiz yesterday leaving the game early. Looked like a hamstring. Was on the opposite leg of where he got hit by the knee. So we'll hit that up and get Dr. Crow's opinion coming up just under an hour from now. So there's your full-on game plan this morning, and wherever else the conversation leads us, that it kind of tends to on Fridays at times, right? So let's jump right into it. Brewers the first to 80 with their win yesterday, the first to 80 in Major League Baseball, the fastest in franchise history to get to 80 wins. Now they return home to take on a Giants team that is fighting for their lives to stay in the wild card hunt. Willie Adames, former friend, coming back to AmFam Field. Talk a little bit about that, but we got to give some cred to Bryce Terang. This dude is playing absolutely fantastic, especially on the offensive side. I mean, you look at the last two games at Wrigley Field here, and with the wind blowing in, a couple nights ago, he almost pounded one through that for a home run. Then yesterday, pounded one through for a home run. The ball is flying off his bat. You're talking 105, 108 miles per hour off his bat. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's hitting like he's one of the biggest guys in the world. He is lights out right now, and it's time Major League Baseball tips their cap to Bryce Terang as one of the better second basemen in all of Major League Baseball. All right, let's take our first break, and then the honors go to the Brewers for our leadoff. I want to hear from you on this Friday. All right, let's end the week on a high note. Hit me up with those texts, comments on the video streams, all that fun stuff. Quick break. We'll be back for these few words. You know, when it comes to your home, nothing changes the look and feel quite like new flooring. And I can tell you from experience, when I needed quality service and a team that I could trust, I went to Carpet City Flooring Center right here in Eau Claire. Hey, they've got it all: carpet, luxury vinyl planks, tile, you name it. And it's not just about the huge selection. It's the way their entire team takes the time to listen to help you find the perfect fit for your style, your needs, and your budget. From the moment you walk on in, you will feel at ease. And when it's time for installation, their professionals handle it with care, precision, and respect for your home. If you've been thinking about updating your floors, hey, now's the time. Stop on in to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire and see for yourself why they're the place people trust for flooring done right. Carpet City Flooring Center, hey, they'll floor you with service, selection, and savings. All right, Brew Crew, that's the lead off here this morning, picking up a win yesterday. 4-1 victory over the Cubbies. Brewers jumped out to a 2-1 or 2-0 lead thanks to Bryce Terang's 2-run shot in the top of the second. Cubs chip it away at times, probably a little bit nervous. Priester struggled a little bit with some control, issuing 5 walks in just a little over 4 innings from him, but for the most part, got out of the jam. But the Cubs splitting that lead in half, thanks to 1 run in the bottom of 5th with a sacrifice fly from Pete Crow Armstrong. But the Brewers given a little bit of breathing room with 8 runs in the top of the 8th inning, thanks to Isaac Collins, to a 2-run single to score both Frelick and Andrew Monasterio. Monasterio coming in for the game because of Joy Ortiz leaving to a hamstring injury. But then the bullpen locking it down after that, and the Brewers able to leave Chicago with a 4-1 victory. Still lose the season series, but at least coming away with a victory in that final game to maybe get a little bit more momentum back as they get set for this series with the Giants starting tonight. Brewers, the first team to 80 wins in Major League Baseball and the fastest. They've set a franchise record for the fastest. They've gotten to 80 wins so far this year. Brewers sitting at 80 and 48. So what does basic math tell us? That's 128 games into the season, and we just got 34 more to go. If they go 20 and 14, they'll hit that 100-win mark, if that's even a thing right now. If that, I mean, they're just trying to win as many games as possible at this point and win that division and maybe even get the top seed here. But one of the dudes that has really stood out in this series has been Bryce Terang. Collecting, just looking at this series against the Cubs and specifically kind of on the offensive side of things, because we know Bryce Terang and his defensive skills and such, but collecting a hit, at least a hit in every single game in this series against the Cubs. You go back to the 18th, the first game in this series, he collected a couple of hits, 5 total bases for him. 1 hit on the 19th, another one, or 1 each in that doubleheader, excuse me. 3 the day before yesterday, then 2 yesterday. But Bryce Terang so far in the month of August has just been in fuego, especially when it's come from the power. His last 15 games, he has hit 6 home runs. His last 30 games, he has hit 8 home runs. I mean, his last 25 at-bats, he's hitting 440, slugging 760, and on base of an 881. Think that's too much of too small of a sample size? His last 115 at-bats, Bryce Terang is averaging a cool 322, on base percentage of a 363, and slugging a 617. The guy is becoming a main threat at the plate, and he's doing it whether he's batting like 6th, 7th, or lead off in the lineup too. I mean, between him and Sal Frelick at times taking turns batting in that leadoff spot, but this is a guy that is doing it from different parts in the lineup. He is being a run producer for this team. And I go back to that preseason list that it was some sabermetric or some sort of computer thing that, one of the many analytic stuff out there that Major League Baseball does. And they came out with that list of the top 10 players at each position. And there was some Brewers representation on a lot of them, like, Contreras, top catcher. It's like, oh, yeah. Yelich and Chirio were both in the top 10 for left fielders. Two surprising ones was Garrett Mitchell was listed as a top 10 center fielder, which, like, oh, okay, we barely got to see that guy play so far in his career and barely get to see him this year. But a guy who won Gold Glove and the Platinum Glove at second base wasn't even listed as a top 10 second baseman, and that was Bryce Terang. Bryce Terang, for my money, is easily a top 10 second baseman across Major League Baseball. And I think we could make the case that he's top 5 in Major League Baseball. And he's proving that, if the knock on him was, well, offensive production, not, bat-wise, yes, when he gets on, he can steal some bases. Yes, we know about his defense, but maybe we want a little bit more from the offensive side of things. Bryce Terang is displaying that this year, and especially this month. You look at his numbers this year, 14 home runs, 21 stolen bases, 286 batting average, a 7.709 OPS, and a 350 on-base percentage, way above his career numbers. And you look at the trajectory of Bryce Terang just in the last 3 years of him being a pro. You talk about a guy that just continues to get better and better and better. And it's very similar to Sal Frelick, the career projections of both of those guys. And it's like every single season they've been in the major leagues in their very young careers just continue to get better and better and better. I mean, Sal Frelick now this year is averaging 300. His batting average is at 300. That's one of the tops in the National League. One of the tops in the National League if you still follow batting average. Major League Baseball overall, 8th highest batting average. National League overall, 5th. Behind Will Smith, Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman, Xavier Edwards. Sal Frelick's a 300 hitter right now. Bryce Terang has the 12th highest batting average in the National League, 286. But going back to Terang, I mean, remember his rookie year, he struggled so much at the plate. He actually got sent down. Was a little bit of a surprise when he made the ball club, the Major League Ball Club coming out of spring training. It's like, oh, okay. Well, maybe a little bit of a surprise. Struggled at the plate, got sent down, came back up later that year. Last year, makes a jump in his offense. So 2023, his rookie year, his batting average was 218. His on base was a 285. OPS was a 585. 2024 bumps that batting average up to a 254. His on base for 316. His slugging even moves 49 points higher to a 349. And his OPS jumps to a 665. And so far this year, he is hitting that 286, on base of a 350, slugging a 429, and his OPS is a 779. He's already set career highs in RBIs, home runs for sure. The one thing that he has already done more this year than any of his previous 2 years, he has struck out more this year. He's got 114 strikeouts. Last year, 105 in 142 games. Or excuse me, 155 games. 137 games his rookie year, he struck out just 94 times. So, I mean, his total bases already higher than the previous 2 years. Give a little bit, you take a little bit, but there is no question to me that Bryce Terang is one of the most underrated, overlooked players across Major League Baseball. And I know second basemen a whole lot don't get a ton of pub, don't get a ton of fanfare, it's shortstops, it's third baseman because of power, first baseman because of power. Then you got the second baseman, right? And you just kind of look at the National League here. And if you want to come up with a list of top second basemen, yeah, you got Xavier Edwards from Miami. He's hitting 302. Marte is probably the more popular one because he's got a little bit of pop. Got 23 home runs. He's hitting 293 this year. Nico Horner from the Cubs, who we just watched this series, he's hitting a 289, just 4 home runs. But Bryce Terang's got the 4th highest batting average among second basemen in the National League. If we did it for Major League Baseball, Bryce Terang, 4th. Second baseman live in the National League. You got a Jose Altuve. He's a name guy for Houston, right? Smaller dude, but he's got a lot of pop, 22 home runs. Brandon Lowe's got 24 home runs. Of all the second basemen in Major League Baseball right now, Bryce Terang has the second no, that's not the second most home runs. They have him listed if you go to MLB.com for the second most home runs, but I think it's because of qualifying and such. So, but nah, to me, he's one of the tops and one of the most underrated players in all of Major League Baseball. And I think, again, Sal Frelick quietly hitting 300. Just quietly hitting 300. Quietly with a 779 OPS. Quietly with a 364 on-base percentage. You don't hear a whole lot about it. Why? Because, again, they're not lighting it up with the long ball. They're not lighting it up with the home run ball. Terang is right now in the month of August. And for what it's worth, Sal Frelick has 9 home runs. His career home runs, 14. So, to be fair, those two, Terang and Frelick, have been displaying more power this year, but it's still not to the level that gets the sexy talk and the sexy numbers and all the tension and fanfare and the goo goo gaga sort of thing. But when you think about the style of the Milwaukee Brewers, these are probably the two guys that'll come to your mind right away. Maybe some smaller guys, don't have a ton of pop, but fundamentals, they play the right way, they get dirty, they hustle it out. They're not all about me. They're all about the team. When I think about a Milwaukee Brewer player, those are two guys that instantly come to my mind. Instantly. Looking ahead to the weekend series here. So starting tonight against the Giants, Quintana is going to get the start for the Brew Crew. And, when you look at some of the numbers, Wisenhunt is going for the Giants here, and nobody's got any experience going up against him. So with the lineup of the Giants going up against Quintana, Willy Adames has actually had some good success going up against Quintana. In 16 career at-bats, he's hitting .313 with a 1.014 OPS. Wilmer Flores, 12 career at-bats, .333 against him. So those are the two guys with the most experience going up against Quintana, who's going to be looking for his 11th win on the season to improve to 11-4. And then Saturday's game, we get Freddie Peralta versus Logan Webb. That's the pitching match. It's a heck of a pitching matchup. Little bit of experience. Everybody's got about a game or a couple games worth going up against Freddie Peralta. But on the Brewer side, Yelich has struggled against Logan Webb. 10 career bats, just a 100 batting average. Terang, he has had success against him in 9 career bats, hitting .444. So maybe he can continue his hot streak there. And then on Sunday's game, the series finale, it's got Robbie Ray. Brewers listed as a TBD, but I think it's probably going to be Brandon Woodruff's turn through the rotation. I'm pretty if it works out that way. So, but you got this Giants team and you look at the standings of where everything's at, there's 6 games under 500. I think it's fair to say this Giants team has not been playing up to the expectations that they had at the beginning of the year. I thought the Giants were a playoff team. But right now they're 6.5 back from a wild card spot. They're 2-8 in their last 10. They've lost their last 3 games. Got to imagine there's some frustration boiling. There's some disappointment. So if you're the Brewers, take advantage of that. Take advantage of it. Don't take it for granted. Don't overlook them. They still got some good players on there. They're just not playing good baseball this year. So don't give them any confidence. I don't know if what some of their players' mindsets are. Like, hey, we're 6.5 back. We're not out of this yet. We go on a run. We can get in this thing. Are they going to be pressing a little bit? Or are they going to be loose and like, hey, it's probably not in our cards this year. Let's just go out there and play hard sort of thing. And those sometimes are the dangerous teams when you got teams that come in and just play incredibly loose and maybe because of the mindset, hey, we got nothing to play for at this point. I don't know, but we got some good matchups coming up here this weekend too. So, all right, we got to take a quick break. Definitely a lot more Brewers talk throughout this morning here, but I want to finish up the first hour. Packers wrapping up their preseason tomorrow. Jobs are on the line for some players. Who are you going to be keying in on and maybe paying attention to the most? We'll hit that up. Coming up after these quick words. When it comes to fresh, quality meats, the first stop for me and our family is always at Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Their brats, snack sticks, steaks, you could taste the difference in every single bite. And with deer season coming up, remember Mike's also does professional venison processing so that you know your hard-earned harvest will taste its best. Great cuts, great service, and hometown pride. That's Mike's Star Market. Stop on in today and see why locals have trusted them for years. Coming up just past 7 o'clock, we'll catch up with our doc, Dr. Austin Crow, for a little Inside the Training Room, brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. So we'll hit that up coming up just past 7. Then Brandon Berg will be joining us. We'll do a little Carpet City Flooring Center local sports roundup, and then definitely get back to some Brewers baseball talk. Lots to talk about with the crew. So, but I want to wrap up this hour talking some pack as we get set for the final preseason game coming up tomorrow in Lambeau or at Lambeau in Green Bay. Jobs on the line. Yesterday we had the joint practice for the pack. Got a little chippy. Couple fights there. So, little he said, she said, this sort of thing, and tensions boiling. I think guys are just ready to get on the field for games that matter and get going here and such. So, but so they got that and such. Jordan Love did a little 7-on-7, and that sounds like defense had a decent day. Sam Darnold, who obviously went up against the Packers last year as a member of the Vikings. This was from Matt Schneidman. Said on the Packers, quote, "That defensive line knows how to rush the passer. We had to game plan a lot for the rush when I was in Minnesota, and that's a credit to those guys like Rashawn, Gary, and Kenny. You've got some beasts up front." Maybe he's being nice. Who knows? But anyways, looking at this final game of the preseason, who are players that you will be watching, kind of keeping an eye on? Who are some players that you think are kind of on that bubble and they have, got to go out there and win a job? With a good performance, they may be able to win a job. Now, the first person that I'm going to kind of pick and highlight has a job, but it's going to be really interesting to see if he's going to be a starter if he puts together another really good performance, and that's Jordan Morgan, the first-round pick from last year. We know he's good. He's going to be on the roster. The question is he going to be a starter? And maybe I don't know with the Aaron Banks back issue, what's going on. If that is going to keep him out to begin the season, one, I know a lot of Packers fans are going to be even more critical about that free agent signing. But two, that probably means Morgan's going to start at left guard, and then Rasheed Walker is going to get to start at left tackle. But let's assume Aaron Banks is going to start week 1. The biggest question left on this offensive line then is going to be, outside of the depth and who's going to win maybe those last 2 spots, is Jordan Morgan going to be the starter? Is he going to be the starter? Has he played well enough? Especially if he puts together another really good game tomorrow. The answer to the question is has he played enough, or has he played well enough to win a starting job? The answer is yes. He absolutely is. But will they give it to him? Or will they go with the experience with Walker? The counter to that is, well, you can't get experience unless you're out there playing. True. But remember, we didn't see Morgan practically at all last year. So he's kind of a rookie a little bit this year. And we know how important that left tackle position is. Blind spot for Jordan Love and for the quarterback. But I'm going to be watching Jordan Morgan again, because if he goes out there and balls out and has another fantastic day, that's a decision Matt LaFleur and the Packers are going to have to make. Do we start Jordan Morgan? Assuming Banks starts at left guard. He's healthy enough to do that. But do we start Jordan Morgan or do we start Rasheed Walker? I don't think Isaiah Simmons can do enough to win a job. I don't. I mean, I think he's practice squad potential. I can't see it Hopper has outplayed him this year. I think Christian Welch, because of his special teams ability, because of he's kind of their leading tackler on special teams. I think Hopper and Welch have played better than Isaiah Simmons. I don't know if he can do anything in this game unless he just like completely blows it out of the water and makes multiple good plays, like jaw-dropping plays or something. If it were me, you take the name away. You take his name away. You take away the fact that he was a former first-round pick, and you put him up against Hopper and Welch, and you just say, who has played better? Who has done better? It's Welch and Hopper. And that's what it should come down to. If he sticks around on the preseason, fine. Great. Maybe get to work with him a little bit more. But right now, I don't think he's done well enough. I'm looking at that. Speaking of the defense, the rest of the defensive line here. Yesterday at joint practice, there was some flip-flopping back and forth, it sounds like, between Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden on that front, with the ones especially. And, I mean, I think you've got your four locks of Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, and Lucas Van Ness. Behind that, Sorrell is going to be on there. Doesn't sound like it'll be an IR sort of thing. He's going to be on there. But you're looking at the Warren Brinsons. You're looking at the Stackhouses. The big guy up front, your run defender, your early downs defensive lineman. But you're also looking at the Colby Woodens, the Carl Brookses. I would throw the Bretton Cox Juniors in there, the Enoch Barres. That, to me, outside of your starting four, is pretty open. At least in my opinion, I think it's fairly open. So I'm going to be looking to see who's going to make a play. Who on that defensive front is going to make a play? Who's going to go out there and have themselves a ball game where they win a job? Same could be said for the back end of the corners, too. Can Kalen King maybe solidify his spot? Does Corey Ballantine, who is a late addition but a former Packer, logged a ton of snaps? Does he get the edge because of his experience and his special teams play? Michael Robinson, Kamal Hayden. Those guys on the back end, the depth chart of that cornerback group. Can one of those guys or a couple of those guys ball out, maybe come away with a pick or two, and win a job? To me, it's those final couple spots on the offensive line. It's those backup spots on the defensive line, especially since we know that Packers want to have a rotation. So whoever makes it from the defensive line outside the top 4 or 5, chances are they're going to have some playing time in the regular season if they continue their rotation. So it's between those defensive linemen, those maybe final 2 spots in the offensive line, and outside the top 3 or 4 corners, if you throw Javon Bullard in there. Those are the main positions I'm going to be watching. Seeing who kind of stands out and seeing if somebody separates themselves from the rest of the pack and gets that job. Running backs, we can take a look at this too. You look at Johnson, Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks and that. With Marshawn Lloyd's injury, it has definitely opened up the possibility of another spot on there because, it was at the beginning of camp, Jacobs and Marshawn Lloyd were going to be your top 2. And then maybe there's just one spot left. So with Marshawn Lloyd, with the assumption he's going to be on IR, or in the injured list, excuse me, it probably opens up for another running back. Now, do they just run it back with Emmanuel Wilson or Chris Brooks? Or do they move on from one of those guys and give it to somebody new? What if one of those newbies goes out there and all of a sudden runs for 100 yards in this game? That might win him a job. It happened to Emmanuel Wilson. It's happened to other Packers players too, where that final game, they just went out and balled out and won themselves a job. Wide receivers, of course, it's Mecole Hardman. Has Mecole Hardman done enough to win a job over Malik Heath? How much does the special teams come into play here? I think it's significant. I don't know what they're thinking in terms of returners at this point, but I think it's significant that Mecole Hardman has the advantage over somebody like Malik Heath for the return game. But let's just say Mecole Hardman plays this game tomorrow, and let's say he drops a punt or fumbles another punt, and Malik Heath has like 5 catches for 75 yards. What do you do? If you only got one more spot, then who do you keep? Hardman has the advantage of making a play on special teams to secure that job. But what if Malik Heath goes out there and he's been with the team for the last couple of years, understands the system, understands the offense? Who do you give that spot to? Especially considering, too, that the wide receiving group is a little bit banged up. Not sure if Reed and Wicks and that are going to be able to start the season. So do you keep a guy like Malik Heath because of that experience? Now, Mecole Hardman's a veteran too, but I'm kind of looking at that one as well. So there's still a few, even though it's the final preseason game, and I think honestly Green Bay's probably on a 53-man roster heading into this weekend or tomorrow's game. I honestly feel like it's probably they have a good idea on 48 to 50 spots. They've got a good idea on who's going to, their 48 to 50 guys, and maybe there's like a couple of openings yet that, all right, we're going to go into this game and do our final evaluations on these few guys. They probably they already have a good idea. They're not going to come in here, Goody, LaFleur, that whole staff. They're not going to be like, okay, boy, we've got maybe 30 locks and we need 23 more guys and we don't know which way to go yet. No, they got a better idea than that. So while we're paying attention to all these different positions and all these different guys that we just mentioned here, honestly, it's probably like 3 to 5 openings left. And from what they always say too, it's a numbers game. It may come down to a lot of discussion in the next few days after this final game where they have this, and the rosters could look different. That's why it's going to be the initial roster when it gets released. There could be waiver claims. There could be some weird ones where it's like, oh, Packers kept 4 running backs? Why did they keep 4 running backs? Well, the next day it could be, oh, they claimed a defensive lineman and that running back gets waived, or they're holding on to somebody so that nobody will, put a claim on them, and then maybe they can release them and stash them on the practice squad. It's a little gamesmanship going on. But I think there's going to be some tough decisions. No question about it. All right, coming up next hour. Again, we'll kick it off with a little inside the training room with Dr. Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. So we'll touch on that. Joey Ortiz looks like he suffered a hamstring injury yesterday. Got some hamstrings going on with the with the crew and that. So we'll touch on that and a little bit more across the sports world. Then we've got Brandon Berg joining us. We'll do some more Brewers talk with him, plus some local sports spotlight, local sports roundup because of the high school football season starting last night. We got more games tonight too, so we'll do that with Brandon as well. AJM Automotive, Pump the Brakes, Full Throttle, coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, and then we'll do a little cream of the crop and bottom of the barrel. cream of the crop bottom barrel. If you want to play along, you can do so. Just hit us up with a quick text, 715-830-1912. All right, make your picks of who is the cream of the crop and who is the bottom of the barrel. All right, we'll hit that up coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, too. All right, one in. We got two more to go, peeps. Quick break, and we'll be back after these news updates.
Well, meanwhile, it's big bucks for Bucky. Alcohol sales at Camp Randall have, you could say, paid off. In the first year of selling alcohol, the venue brought in more than $3 million worth of sales. University officials say the initiative was aimed at improving the fan experience as well as safety. If you're wondering who has the biggest sales record, that would be Morgan Wallen. The concert last June there put that day in sales in the books. Meanwhile, if you're looking to fill your own bank account, just a heads up that the lottery's been creeping up. If you haven't played, $700 million in a Powerball drawing might be incentive, just in case you want to grab a ticket on the way home. Or if you have a loose tooth, you could make money that way. It's National Tooth Fairy Day.
The Chicago Tribune claims to have invented the tooth fairy in 1909 as a way for kids to dispose of their lost teeth for about 5 cents a tooth. But according to Norse legend, we've been exchanging teeth for a fee since the 13th century. Delta Dental says the average child loses 20 teeth from ages 6 to 12. The price per tooth in 2025 is about $5, and that's a mouthful of cash. I'm Bree Tennis.
You know, Casper made a similar offer. He said if I stopped making fun of him, he'd pay me a lot, you guys.
It's about $5.
No deal. For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
A mild morning across the area as we watch the next cold front slowly approaching from the west. That is going to bring more clouds than sunshine throughout the day, and along with that, we will have the chance of a few showers and storms, especially this afternoon. An isolated strong to severe storm can't be ruled out. Our high up to 78. For tonight, mainly clear, a low of 57. Over the weekend, highs in the 60s, a mix of sun and clouds, breezy winds. I'm 13 First Alert meteorologist Derek Dahlman.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. During every Brewers home game at American Family Field throughout the 2025 season, fans will have the chance to win a 2025 Land Cruiser, courtesy of your Wisconsin Toyota dealers. Visit brewers.com/Toyota to enter. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
Do you know what's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide? If you guessed Discover, you guessed right. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports aficionados and armchair quarterbacks, welcome to the Dan Kasper Show, where sports passion meets expert analysis. Dan's encyclopedic knowledge and infectious passion for all things sports is both impressive and sad.
I have many leather-bound books
So get ready to laugh, cheer, and maybe even facepalm a few times.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
It's the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, second hour kicking off right now on this Friday morning, August 22nd. If you're already up and at it, a big thanks for making us a part of your start here this morning. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll do a little local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center with Mr. Brandon Berg. The high school football season kicking off last night. We got more games coming at you tonight, so we'll hit that up. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk as well as Crew picking up a win yesterday against the Cubs. Now getting set for a 3-game series in Milwaukee against the Giants. So, all right, let's kick things off this second hour like we normally do every Friday morning, catching up with our doc.
Paging Dr. Crow. Breaking down the latest in sports injuries. It's time for Inside the Training Room with Dr. Crow. On the Dan Kasper Show.
He is Dr. Austin Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, joining us this morning. First off, happy start to the high school football season, Austin. You ready for it? You ready to go? Ready to go here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
did we lose him?
Great
Wait,
time to be part of a team.
Yeah, there we go. So, it's kind of hard to believe we're already here, man. So it's kind of crazy, but fall's here.
Summer goes by quick. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, I want to lead off with a couple. Well, actually, I want to talk with baseball here. So, Brewer shortstop Joey Ortiz. It was a couple nights ago. It's kind of a 2-part question here for you. First part, the other night he hit a foul ball off his knee and ended up getting on base with a base hit, but then he had to leave the game. And he said that his leg kind of went numb. And they talked about whether it hit a ligament or nerve, but he was back in the next day after they said he's probably not going to start after that. Is there a nerve or a ligament around that knee that would kind of cause that sensation where he couldn't feel his leg after hitting a foul ball after that?
Yeah, and I mean, there's several nerves that run around the knee. The biggest one is behind the knee, so that'd be very difficult for you to directly blow from a foul ball. I mean, unless it went behind him and came back up, which would be pretty atypical. My guess is they kind of go off the front or inner part of the knee or thigh would be my assumption. The second biggest nerve runs in the outer part of the leg, the perineal nerve. That one, again, also be atypical, but your femoral nerve does run along the front and the inner part, which would be a common place to take a foul ball off of. And certainly that could cause numbness that would run down both the front of the knee and then down the inner part of the leg. So yeah, you can absolutely you can get temporary nerve injuries. We call them neuropraxias. So basically a direct contusion or a hit to a nerve. I mean, a baby version of that is your funny bone, right? You bump your ulnar nerve, which on your elbow, you get that zing. If you hit it hard enough, it can go numb for a while. The same exact thing can happen in the leg. So obviously the numbness depends on which nerve was hit, but presumably the only one really in play would be the femoral nerve. So my guess is that would cause, again, some numbness on the front of the leg and the inner part of the leg.
So, and then yesterday he ends up leaving the game early because it looked like he pulled his hamstring, but it was on the opposite leg. So my question to you is, was there maybe a little bit of overcompensation if that other knee was kind of just a little bit sore? Could overcompensating lead to like a hamstring pull or anything like that?
Yeah, I think you'd say for sure. I mean, is it a direct cause? Probably not, but we know people certainly compensate when they have an injury on one side. So it's not uncommon to see an athlete have something they're dealing with, and then you get kind of a downstream effect where they injure something else because they're either playing different or they're favoring something. So yeah, I mean, it's not like if you have an injury on one side, you're guaranteed it hurts the other side, but I would say it likely played a role in that. So whether he was running different or his stride was slightly different, hard to say for sure, but do I think it could play a role? Absolutely.
I want to ask you about Jaden Reed. So I know, was it last week or the week before, we were kind of talking a little bit about Jaden Reed, and he's recovering from a sprained foot, they're calling it, and he's out of a walking boot. But I was watching video from one of the couple of dust-ups at joint practice yesterday, And I saw Jaden Reed walking around, and he was walking around with a noticeable limp. And I know Matt LaFleur said just a couple days ago he's hopeful that he can be ready for week 1. But, I'm seeing him limping around without a boots. I'm a little nervous. Is it still possible he could be ready for week 1, do you think, with a sprained foot?
It's possible. I mean, those injuries, again, the presumption, because they haven't said explicitly that this is a midfoot sprain, so kind of like a mild version of a Liz Frank injury. Those can be really severe injuries. So would I say him still limping at this point is a good sign? No, it's not. That being said, I can pretty much guarantee he's had an MRI, if not 2, to assess for the extent of the ligament damage. So if the ligaments are okay, it should do okay. That doesn't mean it won't bother him. So, it's one of the big distinctions that we have. And, when it comes to treating athletes is like, look, is this a dangerous condition or is this going to be a painful condition? So there's some things where it's like, look, this is going to nag and bother you, but it's not something we're worried about, like you injuring further or causing like a season-ending injury. So again, these guys, if they sneeze, they get MRIs. So I promise you, they have a really good understanding of what that is. So if they're in kind of what they're saying in the media suggests that it's going to go in the right direction. So my guess is he's going to be okay. It will be week 1. Well, I mean, obviously we're getting closer and closer, and he's still limping. Not a great sign, but they'll probably put like a carbon fiber insert in his shoe that'll take some stress off the midfoot. So there's things that they can do to help offload that may help it. And then of course, sometimes guys is on game day. It's like, look, I'm going to be in a little bit of pain, but I'm going to play through it. So, I think that's maybe kind of the old school mentality more than we see nowadays. But again, if it's a situation where it's like, look, the risk of further injury is very low, those are the times where guys are like, all right, I'm going to try to play through this. And that may end up being the case.
Staying with the Packers, one of their free agent signings this year was guard Aaron Banks, and he's been in and out lately with the back issue, they keep calling it. And he's been missing time now as of late with a back issue. I know the back is we've talked about over the years back issues and back injuries and such. Is that one kind of hard to kind of forecast because there's so many different variables with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, certainly I'd say as a whole, back problems are not an ideal thing, right? I mean, you'd rather almost see like an extremity injury just because they can really be troublesome. So now if it's just muscular based, so they have, just a issue or kind of strain of one of the muscles that kind of run along the spine, those can be bothersome, but have a really high likelihood of going away completely. So that's not a big deal. You start talking about a bad disc or a pinched nerve in the back causing a lumbar radiculopathy. Now you're talking about things that can be both season or even, heaven forbid, career threatening. So spectrum is huge on that one. So it seems like it's not super serious. So the hope is that this is going to be more muscle based. And so in that circumstance, you just got to get them through the symptoms, and the odds of it healing correctly are very high. But again, if it is an actual issue, structurally speaking, those can be very, very significant. And especially at someone in the line, I mean, they're trying to toss around other 300-pound human beings, right? That puts a lot of stress to the back. So yeah, I mean, it is, without really more information, it's really hard to say, but I would say the potential for something bad is much higher, but that doesn't mean it is the case, right? I mean, again, the way they're kind of talking about it seems like it's going to be something more muscle-based, which would be a smaller issue and much more likely to recover fully.
Your Vikings wide receiver is also suffering some injuries right now too. You got rumors out there. Could they be looking for a veteran wide receiver or acquire a veteran wide receiver? How are you a little concerned with the depth over there?
Well, I mean, obviously we're going to have Jordan Addison that's going to have to sit out after his DUI from 2 years ago. That's finally caught up to him. JJ sounds like he's on track to get back from his hamstring. So it seems like that when they really were just like, look, let's play it safe. So he's back practicing this week, so that's a good sign. Now, do we need more depth? Absolutely. I mean, I think we need to really figure out what we're going to do, especially the first couple weeks, or really even in the season. So, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of names thrown around. I mean, to me, one of the big ones, would be Adam Thielen. He knows the system. He's a hometown hero kind of guy. And clearly he's actually had a couple of good seasons down at Carolina. So he would be one name. There's a lot of different guys that are out there. I do believe we're going to make a move, especially because we traded Harrison Phillips, was it 2 days ago? To me, that was clearly a roster move that tried to open up cap space to do something. So I suspect something's coming. And I do think that'll probably be at the wide receiver position. So time will tell. And yeah, I do think we need some depth. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do.
I want to go back to baseball here for a second because I mean, last basketball season we were talking about these types of things, or these type of injury and such, blood clots. And Zach Wheeler, the pitcher for the Phillies, it was discovered that he had a blood clot in his right upper extremity near his shoulder. Now they said he underwent successful thrombolysis to remove the clot. Is that do you think did Damian Lillard or Victor Wembanyama, do you know if they underwent that? I don't think they did surgery though for that.
So thrombolysis is where they actually will release a chemical to break it down. Thrombectomy is where they actually do a surgery to remove it. So
okay.
I'm not sure which one he had done. So thrombectomy, they actually will go and take it out. A thrombolysis is a chemical agent that they release into the bloodstream that breaks down the clot. So it depends on the severity of it. Often they won't. Clots are dangerous if they break off and go into the lung. That's called a pulmonary embolism. That can be life-threatening. It's very, very serious. The actual clot in the arm or leg, depending on where it's at, that can cause problems in and of itself. I mean, your veins are basically the highway back to the heart. So if you have a clog there, you get congestion behind it. So people get a lot of swelling and pain. And sometimes the clot doesn't fully break down. It can cause something called post-thrombotic syndrome, where you just get real severe swelling of that extremity that doesn't go away. So in those circumstances where it's a really big clot, that's where they do the thrombolysis or the thrombectomy. I don't believe that those other guys had that. I mean, at least certainly not that was disclosed in the public. So often if you put them on a blood thinner, the body naturally breaks it down, right? Because our body makes clots all the time. Every injury, you get a clot that develops for the most part. So the body has a mechanism to do that. But if it's big enough or there's actually blockage where you're having an issue in the extremity, that's where they talk about getting it out of there. So the fact that Zach had that done certainly suggests it was a large clot, and he probably was dealing with real severe pain and swelling in that arm, which is why they elected to get the clot out of there, whether it was with a chemical agent or actual extraction. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of a scary situation too, isn't it? To hear
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, because it can be just through overuse, right? We see that, but I mean, some of these people have risk factors for it. So there's a handful of diseases, factor V Leiden, protein CNS deficiency that people have, and it just puts them at higher risk. So the body just, we have a whole system in our body to balance breakdown of clots and then creating clots, right? You need to be able to create clot. If you can't make a clot, that's thrombophilia. That's where you have diseases where you bleed. The extreme, the other way, is where you have clotting disorders where people make clots. So people have to be on medications in both ways, but sometimes it's just spontaneous. So a lot of times with these athletes, it's more spontaneous related to use. But yeah, certainly. I mean, it's not often we have athletes that have injuries where it's like there's a potential life-threatening complication here, and clots are one of them. Now, upper extremity clots are really rare to break off and go to the lung and heart, which you think it'd be counterintuitive. You're like, well, it's right there. Like, why, but it's just the way it works. The risk factor is much lower. It's the clots when they get above the knee and the back of the leg and towards the pelvis. Those ones have a much higher likelihood of breaking off and going and becoming a pulmonary embolism. But I mean, that's a scary situation. I mean, people with PEs, which we call pulmonary embolism for short, I mean, they can be literally keel over dead. I mean, it's like they have like a second of chest pain. It blocks the entire flow between the heart and the lung, and they just drop over dead. So yeah, scary stuff to say the least.
Last one here for you quickly. So this was this actually happened. I think the first or second preseason game for the Packers, the Colts. Omar Brown, who was in contention to maybe make this team, he suffered a chest injury, and he's been at the hospital at Indianapolis for actually a few days. It wasn't just an overnight. He was there for a few days for observation. So when you hear that for a football player who suffered a chest injury and he's been in the hospital for a few days for observation, what could be kind of going on that they want to keep an eye on?
Yeah, it sounds like when they were discussing it in the media, they also mentioned the lung. So he probably has, a contusion to the chest and then an injured lung. Now, often they'll stay if it's a collapsed lung. We call that a pneumothorax. But that is a common occurrence where you take a direct blow. It often is accompanied by a rib fracture because the rib will actually be what pokes a hole in the lung. So they'll say it if it's a pneumo, but that would certainly be a thing. Or if you have enough of a contusion, you'll bleed into the lung, and that can also cause some issues there as well. So my guess is he had a chest CT or MRI, and they either noticed a small pneumothorax, aka a dropped lung, collapsed lung, or it's a real severe contusion that affects the function of the lung. So it's not so much the chest wall injury. It's, you know, it's why you have a chest wall, why you're protecting the things below it. So your heart and lungs, as it turns out, they're pretty important. And so when you have injuries to the structures below, that's where people get a little more concerned. So my assumption is not so much the chest wall injury, it's the underlying issue with the lung that they're describing.
Man, scary too. So holy moly.
Mm-hmm.
He's Dr. Austin Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine inside the training room. Dude, appreciate it as always. Best of luck in the football season, sir, and enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Absolutely. You have yourself a great weekend.
You got it. There you go. Dr. Austin Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, joining us here this morning. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll get to Mr. Brandon Berg. He's coming up after these quick words. It is that time of year. It is high school football season. And let's break it down because we had some games yesterday. It's our local sports roundup brought to you by our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center. Now, around our area, Memorial falling to Hudson, although Memorial had a lead early on in the game. Then North falling to Menominee. That kind of was turned into a shootout. That was a high-scoring game. And then Cadott got a victory. Chippewa Falls did fall to Spash, but we got more games tonight. Before we do that, let's kind of recap some of the games from last night's. Brandon Berg joining us here this morning. So, I mean, I know it's week one, but in terms of, and I know they're in the conference, so you're a little bit familiar with them. Even though their loss is disappointing, kind of still good showings, would you say, for North and Memorial going up against, two teams that were probably coming in with high expectations this year?
I think so. I mean, both those teams bring back some talent from last year with North and Memorial. And yeah, you're coming right out of the gate. I mean, if you're North, you're coming out of the gate and going to play Menominee, which is never easy. If you're Memorial, you're hosting Hudson.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Hudson's always they were second in the conference last year. They're always a top 3 team in the Big Rivers. So, and to be able to come out and, like you said, even if you don't get a win, to be able to come out and be competitive with those teams, I think really kind of sets the tone for, what they're going to look to do this year, especially once we get into Wisconsin Valley Conference competition for them, where, they're going to have the opportunity to definitely win some games this year.
Yeah. So, Chippewa Falls falling to a tough Spash team, though, right? I mean, that's a good program,
right? I mean, Spash was second in the Wisconsin Valley to DC Evers last year, and a lot of changes for both teams there. But for Chippewa Falls, a younger team that kind of came into this year with only a handful of starters back. So I mean, 2 starters on offense, which is a couple offensive linemen, and then on defense, 3 starters in the linebacker and secondary core. So otherwise, a lot of kids that are getting their first significant taste of varsity competition in Division I football. That's a big step up. So, but I think these are all these teams you mentioned. These are teams that are gonna get better as this year goes on. Next Thursday we got Chippewa Falls hosting Eau Claire Memorial. So obviously we'll be able to kind of see in the case of those 2 teams, kind of what they learn week 1 to week 2,
right,
and how they can apply it before conference season starts. And overall, in that first week, the Big Rivers won 5 of the 7 games because those were all. I mean, they're not crossover games because they don't count towards the conference standings, but they were all Big Rivers versus Wisconsin Valley. As weird as it still is to include North and Memorial in the Wisconsin Valley side of that ledger, but
right.
But still, I mean, 5-2 for the Big Rivers. Menominee won. New Richmond picked up a win over Marshfield. Rice Lake scored at the end to beat DC Everest. River Falls shut out Wisconsin Rapids, and yeah, I mean, and Hudson beating Memorial. Otherwise, Stevens Point and Wausau West picking up wins over Chippewa and Superior. So, we'll have more of those matchups next Thursday before ultimately the Big River season, and along with a lot of other conference season starts that first Friday of September.
Yeah. So tonight before tonight, you were at Cadott yesterday.
I was in Augusta.
Or Augusta taking on Cadott. Cadott
Correct.
won that game. So I know you had talked a little bit about Cadott last week, but first impressions after watching them now in person?
They've got some size, and they're a team that can really spread the wealth a little bit more offensively than maybe they could last year. Just a lot of kids that were maybe freshmen and sophomores last year, they're now sophomores and juniors this year with some varsity experience. And that's kind of what they did last time. I mean, a lot of different kids got the ball. Enrico had a couple touchdown runs, but you had several different kids kind of getting their opportunity, which was kind of what Coach Todd Rickle told me at the start of the year. This would be kind of that the way the team would be. Last year, Warren Bovey, who's now pitching in Division I St. Thomas, he was kind of the bell cow as far as the running game goes. And now they're able to move that around a little bit, maybe play the hot hand a little bit more. And they went up against an Augusta team that doesn't have the biggest team in the world as far as numbers go. But I mean, they were fighting to the very end. I mean, their last drive of the game, they were looking to try to pop one in the end zone. So business will pick up a little bit more for Cadott next Friday. They host Stanley Boyd. Always a rivalry there. So and we'll see what Stanley Boyd does tonight against Colby. Another kind of a rivalry for Stanley Boyd. Yeah, I mean, a good first step for Cadott. The Lakeland's a tough conference because you've got Grantsburg, who was at state last year. You've got some other good teams in there with Tech Warehouser and Cameron, Ladysmith, but it's a Cadott team that even though it only won one game last year, thinks it can be a lot better this year.
Okay.
And I think in these next few weeks we're going to kind of see a little bit better of a sample of just how high they've been raising that bar since the end of last year.
Mm-hmm. So tonight we got more games on the docket. Where are you going to be at tonight?
I'm actually meeting Cornell.
Okay.
Cornell and Lake Holcomb, the rivalry there, the battle for the Knight Shield.
Is that what it is?
It is, yes, because
Nice.
when they were together as a co-op, they were the Knights.
That's cool.
So when they both went their separate ways to be 8-player teams, they established a trophy, and it's called the Knight Shield.
More teams need to do, or
they do.
Yeah, they need to do that.
They do. I mean, I'm trying to think of ones around here. But I mean, New Auburn and Lake Holcomb will play next Thursday. Actually, they have the Birch Tree Axe.
Oh, so yeah, I think you've talked about that before.
So you'll just if you're at that game, you'll just see an axe on the sideline, usually sticking in a chunk of wood. Thorpe and Owen Withy is always kind of the most notable one for me. That's the milk can. That one goes back like 60 years. So, I know in hockey, Chippewa Falls and Eau Claire North play for the Toolbox.
That's right.
So that's a more relatively recent one, but that's still a pretty hotly contested one. But I'm with you. We need more trophy games.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Make it a little college football-esque,
right?
Sort of that way. So, but what other games do you kind of maybe do you have your eye on, or do you think are some really good week 1 matchups?
I mean, you're kind of looking at checking out the landscape a little bit. I think Durand, Arkansas, and Spring Valley is an interesting one. Spring Valley along with Boyceville, probably your favorites in the Dun St. Croix. Durand has been pretty solid the last few years. Regis hosting Turtle Lake tonight at Carson Park. Fall Creek, Altoona, just because that's kind of a long tenured rival, series there. Pretty short distance for those two, but I think that should be a pretty good game too. With I think Fall Creek's kind of an ascending team in the Clover Belt, and certainly Altoona, playing in the middle border, they're always, well tested there. So, that's going to be a one to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I mean, really an 8-player kind of, I think the big one in this area is going to be Gilman hosting Owen Withy.
Oh,
that jumps right off the bat there. So you got Owen Withy, defending state champions. You got Gilman, a team that played Owen Withy as good as any team did last year. I mean, that was a tight 1-possession loss, at the end of the regular season. So, that one's in Gilman tonight, so that's that's one to start off with. But it's interesting because obviously with the way because 8 players started at the same time as 11-player, what they did was they took all the week 9 games and they moved up to week 1 because the playoffs start for 8-player actually start in week 9 of 11-player, just because they doubled it, they expanded it, and. At this stage of the game, though, I'm not sure you would find 2 teams that kind of just know what to expect from the other team more than than Gilman and Owen Withy, just because you got, Robin Rosemeyer with Gilman and Terry Lowy from Owen Withy, 2 coaches that have been coaching against each other for decades.
Yeah.
So, and 2 teams that generally just kind of do what they do. So, you're not going to see many surprises. It's just a matter of kind of who executes more, but that's going to be a big first step in that, that conference title race. Because, we're going to be not too far removed. I think McDonald's certainly can be in that, case as well. They open tonight at home with Alma Center Lincoln, but we're not too far away from, McDonald playing Owen Withy and McDonald playing Gilman. So, I mean, kind of who's able to maybe emerge from those games is going to, have a big step up in that conference title race.
So I know a lot of the focus right now is on football and such, but we do have other fall sports going on. I know what you wrote a piece in the Chippewa Herald. Go check it out, chippewa.com. Swimming, right?
Yep. So, swimming will get underway. I think Eau Claire North actually hosts a girls swim invite tomorrow.
Okay.
So Chippewa Falls, McDonald will be there. Obviously, North will be there. There'll be some other local teams there, but as we get going here, I mean, certainly in the big rivers, Hudson and Eau Claire Memorial are always kind of the 2 powerhouses in girls swimming. Chippewa Falls is usually right in that mix as well. They got a smaller team, but still, I mean, you're kind of seeing with a lot of these teams, especially your smaller teams, and that's something that's always really interested me about swimming, be it girls or boys, that you've got so many of these teams that, I think Chippewa's got 14 or 15 swimmers, and that may sound like a lot, but you remember that, in a relay, you'll have 4 swimmers. So you'll have roughly a quarter of your team. And if you got 2, maybe you got 2 relays in an event, that's half your team that's in a race. And then you have quick turnarounds. So, I mean, I've always thought like your best athletes in many cases come from 3 sports: swimming, wrestling, and I'd probably say gymnastics, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And
Is it because just what they all have to do, sort of? You know?
But with swimming, like you just have so little turnover when you're a spot like that. I was actually talking with one of the swimmers from Chip about that this week, where sometimes that's something maybe people understand, where it's like, okay, you've got, you swim the 50 freestyle, which is just a down and back quick sprint. Then like 5 minutes later, it's like, boom, you're back in the pool and you're going, 200. So it's always something I've really appreciated about swimming, is the fact that you have to really be a finely tuned athlete. And you'll see, like, if you ever go to a swim practice, you'll just see how many laps and miles these swimmers log. Like, the first couple weeks are probably pretty rough when you started out. It's like, doing anything when you start to get in shape. And, if you're training for a marathon or a half marathon and you run a couple miles early on, that couple miles is probably going to kick your butt because you haven't done it very much. But yeah, swimming is getting underway. Girls golf is already underway. We've had some invites. I know Eau Claire North hosted their invite at the start of the week at Lake Hallie. So that's going. Volleyball, you're going to have scrimmages tomorrow. You've got really things getting underway next week there. Most notably, and we can talk about this next Friday, but the UW Stout Sprawl.
Oh, you've talked about that before.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
next Friday and Saturday in Menominee. You got a ton of teams from this area that are going to be there. A lot of Big Rivers teams, a lot of Clover Belt teams. I mean, it's always such a fun, interesting event to me because you have teams of all different sizes. I mean, you've got Big Rivers teams going up against Clover Belt teams, going up against, there's some Lakeland teams mixing there, Dunn St. Croix, and that's fun because volleyball is one of those sports where you can do that. Like, if you're a good smaller school team, you can be competitive against a larger team. So, yeah, that's going to be coming up. I mean, all the practice for all the sports is underway, but
yeah,
it's just a matter of getting things going. Girls tennis, yesterday and today, I believe Altoona's hosting an invite. You got teams there. I know Chippewa Falls and Bloomer, I believe, are both there. So yeah, I mean, we're getting underway here, and we're gonna have a few weeks under our belts before a lot of these kids are back in school.
Yeah, which is less than 2 weeks now, I believe. So, man. Is it like, right, by the way, congrats on 16 years. 1 year ahead of Justice Cleveland. So you win. Justice had 15, you have 16, right?
Well, I'm starting year 16. I'm through 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Justice is starting 15, I think he said.
No, because him and I got here about the same time.
Well, he put 15.
He doesn't know his math then.
I saw you have 16.
Yeah, I'm starting year 16.
Stop being humble,
I'm through
sir.
15.
Jeez Louise.
I'm through 15, and I think he is too. So
you know more about it.
Him and I have had this conversation before. That's why.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it's about the same. And actually, I think my official first day was the 24th. So it's
okay.
It's 2 days. I just got like a week or two ago. I just got like a Facebook anniversary reminder about when I got the job.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I suppose about that time.
That's all. Well, still, congrats, and continue doing the amazing work that you do. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks that.
No,
so
I appreciate that.
So good stuff. All right, let's take a quick break. And well, first, that's your local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. Let's take a quick break and let's talk to Brewers, the first to 80, the fastest in franchise history to 80. Talk a little Brew Crew coming up after these few words. Coming up tomorrow morning on a new episode of Tailgate Outdoors, we are chatting with Eric Lopez, who is the director of events for BASS Bassmaster. And why are we chatting with him? Because we got the huge Bassmaster tournament going on in La Crosse right now on the Mississippi River. Actually got some Wisconsin representation on the leaderboard so far too. So it's a good conversation with Eric that will be on tomorrow morning's episode of Tailgate Outdoors at 8 a.m. And if you missed that, it is always available in podcast form. Check it out on the Man Cave podcast. We got about 15 minutes. So coming up next hour, we'll do cream of the crop, bottom of the barrel, and then pump the brakes, full throttle. Let's talk some Brewers though. Brewers end up going 2-3 in this Cubs series. They win the finale yesterday. First team in the majors, 280 wins, the fastest in franchise history. You look back at this series, they're 7 up on the Cubs. Kind of really like 6 though now because the Cubs hold the tiebreaker if it comes to that. But how do you, when you look back at this series now that it's over with, maybe a little disappointed they didn't win it to get that tiebreaker, but how big was maybe just yesterday's win to get 2 instead of just getting 1 out of 5?
I think it was gigantic just because, I mean, there's a big difference between leaving Chicago being up 5 and being up 7.
Mm-hmm.
And if it get to the point, 6 weeks from now where the tiebreaker comes into play, there were bigger issues for the Brewers than the fact that, they lost the series and ultimately lost the tiebreaker with the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think it was a series where, look, eventually this was going to happen. Like, as hot as the Brewers have been, as much fun as that was, like, eventually, like, nobody plays that well forever.
Right.
And, despite their, maybe some of the hiccups they've had recently, the Cubs are still a really good team. And you knew going into that series, they're going to be hyped up because they knew, like, hey, this is our last chance to take a big cut into this before we're done playing each other. That's always the best way to catch somebody in the standings, beat them. So, all 5 games, I mean, look, they won 2 of 5 is kind of a sandwich there with the start and the end. But, all 5 games you look at and you could say, okay, well, the Brewers had their shot to win all of them. So had a shot to lose all of them. Like, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. So, I mean, I think coming into the week, my kind of hope was win at least 2, because even if the Cubs, like even if you lose the season series, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
The big thing is only will have them game 1 game on you instead of 3. And that's kind of where it was going into yesterday, where, 6 games up is kind of that pivot point of, okay, well, do you leave up 5 or up 7? And, for as much as, maybe they're entering that game Thursday, there is, maybe some Brewers fans that just haven't experienced some losses in a while. So there is some frustration. I get there is some frustration, but still, to be able to leave in that spot is still a good spot for the team, even though, it had to deal with some frustrations in that series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how concerned are you from the last couple times we've seen Mizorowski now? Is there a little bit of concern? I mean, it's Pat Murphy says it's all mental, like the levers and mechanics he feels like is there. But I mean, that's back-to-back games now where it's been short outings and high pitch counts. Is there a little bit of concern creeping in from you about that? Or, I keep going back and forth on this because I'm like, but he's proven to pitch really well in big moments and such. So is it just too small of a sample size right now at this point?
I don't know if concern is the right word, because this is kind of what was expected, because this is who he's been.
Mm-hmm.
There's been bouts of wildness. So it's like the same thing that's happening for him now has happened with him, in the minors. Like, it's just something you got to work through.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can work through it is by continuing to pitch. So I wouldn't say I'm necessarily worried. It's just kind of something you deal with when it comes to him at this point. Now, that could be, he could get through it and it could be a different story, but, that's just always the thing you got to deal with too. When you've got kind of lankier pitchers,
Mm-hmm.
like, just, you talk about the levers, like, you just have longer arms and legs. So it's a lot more stuff you have to try to, keep synced up, which can be difficult when you're, 6'6" versus, 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's going to keep getting these opportunities for now. I mean, the Brewers, I'm interested to see what they do Sunday for the starter, because that's still TBD.
Would it kind of be Brandon Woodruff based off of?
But I think the discussion is, given you have a long stretch maybe you.
I'm going to that game, so tell me it's going to be Brandon Woodruff. Come on now.
I mean, if it is, it might be a shorter start, but I
Yeah.
think they're still keeping that TBD because, and this is something I wonder too, given that they're now in this, was it 18 games or 17 game, 18 day, whatever stretch it is, they may try to go with, sprinkling in someone else there a time or two to have like a 6-man rotation just to kind of, especially for someone like Woodruff, they kind of want to keep him maybe on a little bit more 5 days rest versus 4 when they can.
Mm-hmm.
So, that may mean, I don't know who that would mean from the minors.
Because they did send Patrick down again because it was the elevation for the extra.
Right. So maybe, I mean, and he pitched Tuesday, correct?
Yeah, he had the first.
Yep.
It was supposed to be Monday night, but he pitched.
So, I mean, that would be only 4 days for him. Maybe, I don't know if they consider that to be a big deal or not, but, maybe it's him. But I don't know.
Because Henderson's still on the IL, right?
Henderson's IL. They called up Carlos Rodriguez, but I mean, I don't know if I think he's just kind of more their long guy right now. So, I don't know who that would be, because you might just try to sprinkle someone in to make a start or two just to, keep, and it's another way you can kind of manage innings too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just something they're going to have to really negotiate with. Once you get to September, it's a little bit, different story because obviously then you're starting to get off days again. So
could a lot of that depend on how they do in the first 2 games?
Could.
If they win the first 2, it's, I don't want to say a throwaway, but
I think that's fair. And one of the things that the Brewers did not do well in that Cup series is after Freddie Peralta on Monday. I don't think a starter went past 5 innings.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chad Patrick went 5 and he gave up some runs, but I think then Woodruff, Mizrowski, and Priester yesterday, I don't think any of them reached 5 innings.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just putting a lot on the bullpen in a short period of time. The bullpen's not in a bad spot, but just you can't do that over the long term.
Right.
And so it would not surprise me to see them go with kind of a different route for Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think maybe they want to try to make sure they still got that, little bit extra built-in rest. And again, they have with a 6-game lead, like they've been able to be a little bit more cautious with some of these moves they've done. So, I mean, that just wouldn't surprise me if they did that again.
Mm-hmm. So, looking ahead to this series against the Giants, I mean, you got Freddie Peralta and Logan Webb. That's probably the premier matchup on Saturday. You got Quintana looking for his 11th win here tonight and such. But, I mean, the first to 80 in Major League Baseball, the fastest in franchise history here at this point. I mean, everything's going really well. It sounds like Jackson Cheerio is going to be coming back here soon. Then they're going to have to decide on Rhys Hoskins and all that. But I'm nervous about the Joey Ortiz injury. And Joey Ortiz, I feel like, has been such a wave of topics so far this year. Whether it's like, get him out of here. Okay, he's really good now. Oh, now we want a different bat. But now it's like, no offense to Andrew, I want Joey Ortiz out there.
Right. I mean,
how concerned are you about if he misses an extended amount of time?
I'm curious what they would do. Because, you could, do you go Monasterio at short? Do you go Terang at short? And then have, maybe Monasterio play second, or they, move things around. Like, because then what are you doing with Caleb Durbin? Because he's played a little bit more second base, and that was his natural spot coming into the year as the year went on. What are you doing in the minors, to call it from AAA? Because there's really not too much there. I mean, the only guy I could think of would be like Freddie Zamora from AAA, who's someone that's has had a good year at Nashville. But he's kind of a guy that's been floating in the minors for a while. Like at one point he was a pretty high draft pick and it just hasn't fully clicked. And he's one of those guys too, that like, he's a good defender. Offensively, he's not going to bring you much in the way of like power, but he seems to get on base. So, I mean, would that be an option? I don't know. But I mean, I could see them, putting him on the IL just because, they've tried to be a little conservative about this.
Mm-hmm.
And, who knows, maybe, I mean, and if it's something where it's not too long of a stay, like, you can do that because it seems like it's a couple different things right now with him. So maybe you give him that chance to get healthy for the September stretch run. And maybe it just kind of allows him to clear his mind at the plate a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
but you're right. But you're right. Like his defense is really really good. That's the thing that, I mean, his OPS is floating a little bit above 600 and it's like, okay, yeah, that's true. But you're still getting defense from him, like good defense. So, that's always been made a little bit more tolerable.
Right. So I guess it's kind of a wait and see right now at this point here. But looking at, I'm looking at the rest of the schedule here for the Brewers too, Brandon. And I mean, you've got the Giants they're struggling right now. I mean, they're 6 games under 500. They're 6.5 back from a wild card spot. After that, you get Arizona. Then you go to Toronto, and then you go to Philadelphia.
You got Philadelphia.
Philadelphia comes here. Mixed in for next month, you got St. Louis. You got the Padres. St. Louis a couple times. The Padres. Then you finish off with Cincinnati, who could be still competing for a wild card spot at that. Then I was looking at the Cubs. Cubs, in my opinion, have an easier schedule to finish this thing off. Do you still feel the same after watching the Brewers in this Cubs series? Do you still feel the same about the Brewers before that than after, compared to what you see now? Because now I'm seeing a lot of people like, well, look at the team, the record on this run in the last couple of months compared to what they did against the Cubs. It's a losing record. Do you take anything from that, or is this just like clearly evident? Hey, you know what? Cubs and Brewers are both really good teams.
Right. Yeah. I mean, how many of those Cubs Brewers games this year were close?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much all of them.
Right.
So, and I get it. People are maybe a little unnerved after that series, but the Brewers still have a tremendous record against teams over 500.
Mm-hmm.
They just have a tremendous record in general. So, at this point, I don't think there's too much that's gonna get me off kilter. I mean, remember that this is a team that just hasn't lost very much, and eventually that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Would you rather have? I mean, I'm not too concerned. I would say that. You would like to win one more of those games just so you had that extra padding on the Cubs. But still, like I said, if we're 5 weeks from now and suddenly the Brewers are up by 1 game, well, some other things went wrong, bigger than just losing that series.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, no, I mean, you got to go take care of business. The Brewers have played well against some really good teams this year. And that stretch is good. That's that week stretch of the Blue Jays and the Phillies is going to be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, that Tuesday after Labor Day, that's their next off day. So it's kind of a matter of just how do you get to there? Because then that's about the same time it turns to September and rosters expand. So they'll be able to add an extra pitcher and they'll be able to add an extra hitter. I mean, I don't know if that's when Hoskins might come back, if they're going to because they're going to give him some time with it because he's been out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see them adding Hoskins when that time comes, when Jackson Churio comes back, maybe Brandon Lockridge gets sent down.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see a spot on this team for Jake Bauers, especially if they're in a spot where Ortiz missed a little bit of time and you want a little bit more coverage at second base, shortstop, and third.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just a numbers game right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see what he would bring to the table that you're not getting better from somebody else on the roster. And that's just kind of a numbers game right now when you're a really good team.
Is Bryce Terang one of the most underrated, overlooked players in all of Major League Baseball? I mean, this run that he's got going on right now is fantastic. I mean, for the wind blowing in, day before he almost jacked one out. Yesterday he did jack one out. I mean, he's getting the ball off 105, 108 miles per hour for crying out loud. I feel like he still gets overlooked and not mentioned as one of the better second basemen in Major League Baseball.
It's an interesting trajectory his career is taken.
Right. Gotten better every single year, right?
Right. And you look at just kind of the jump up in power this year, which I don't think anyone saw coming. Even when you were kind of looking back at, the scouting for him when he was in the minors, like he was looked at as a pretty good prospect, but it was looked at as a guy that's never going to hit for much power.
Mm-hmm.
But he's starting to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's to get power out of a spot like second base is such a luxury because you don't always get that.
Mm-hmm. I'd look at him and Sal Frelick with those trajectories, because it kind of came up at the same time, right? And every single year, Sal Frelick right now, this morning, is a 300 hitter for the season. And you look at these two guys, they're not big. They're small. They're elite defenders, obviously. They don't have a ton of power, although Terang's kind of showing that right now, but they've actually hit more home runs this year than their other years combined. These two guys, just to see the path that they're rising right now is pretty remarkable.
Right. I mean, they were kind of looked at one point of players like, okay, they'll be major league players, but it's like maybe the ceiling isn't super high because maybe that offensive capability wasn't looked at as being, at a high level. And it's ascending right now. It's better than it's like okay, you're a B instead of maybe being like a C plus. Well, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it is. All right, we'll talk some more Brewers coming up next hour. We're going to kick off next hour, though, with a little cream of the crop and bottom of the barrel. Then after that, the AGM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle. We'll hit that up as well. So you can last call for any of your cream of the crops or bottom of the barrel. If you want to send those on over, you can do so by hitting us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Yeah, so we'll get to that, and then we'll get back to some more Brewers talk coming up here as well. Preseason wrapping up, so we are 2 weeks from this weekend. We'll get some games in. Actually, yesterday was 2 weeks from yesterday when the NFL season officially kicks off. So, ready for Cowboys Eagles?
I am. I don't know if Michael Parsons is, though, it sounds like.
All right, 2 in, 1 more to go. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be back after these news updates. Final hour on this Friday morning coming at you right now. Appreciate you tuning in and making us a part of your start here this morning. We're going to do a little pump the brakes, full throttle, brought to you by AJM Automotive in just a little bit here. We kick off this hour right away, though, with a little cream of the crop and bottom of the barrel. Brad Dedberg, you get the honors. Who is your cream of the crop?
You kind of mentioned him a little bit earlier, so I tried to not speak too much, but I'm actually going to go Bryce Durang. For the, I mean, just the stretch he's putting. I would even, I guess I can't even say the stretch. It's just kind of, I would classify the season in general, but
yeah,
I mean, he has a chance to, realistically be a 2020 player.
Yeah,
which I mean, I can't imagine too many people said coming into the year, and it's been kind of a unique year for him because, his defense has, I don't want to say taking a step back, but like when you're literally voted the best defender in the league last year, there's kind of nowhere to go but back. But
right.
But then, I mean, when you look at, it's kind of almost like that's a trade-off you'll make, where a little bit of deep, you can still be a really good defender instead of like the best defender, but adding the power in, I mean, 14 home runs, that's more than he hit in the first 2 years combined.
Right.
Right now 286 average, 350 on base, like, just being a good, solid, like above average to good offensive player, and hitting against righties and lefties. I mean, just showing he's not like just kind of a defensive first platoon guy. Like he's a guy that can just go out there and play every day.
And remember, that's another thing too. Last year, where it was like Pat Murphy gave him the opportunity. I'm going to keep you in the lineup against lefties, and he's done a really good job at it. Whether it's been batting leadoff or at the bottom of the order because of the lefty, or now even like 6 or 7 in that order. He's kind of been all over the place and doing a really good job. Really good job. I thought about him. Thought about cream of the crop. Because I think, right? Yeah. So this would be our first, to get the franchise record for wins in a row. I mean, that's cream of the crop for Brewers. I'm going to go with my guy, though, Sal Frelick, 300 hitter. The GOAT, the greatest of all time. Salvatore, the summer of Salvatore Frelick.
Hopefully it's a late summer.
You got to do the fist pumps when you're talking about like a guy like Sal Frelick. Jersey Shore. Yeah. All right, bottom of the barrel.
I think for me, just bottom of the barrel is any discussion about expanding the college football or college basketball playoffs.
Yeah, like, that whole Big Ten thing, the proposal. Is that what you're referring to?
That's part of it. Yeah.
Okay. That is ridiculous.
I like 12 because I still think you need some exclusivity with it.
Yep.
Like you shouldn't be like 9-3. Or 8-4 and be like in playoff contention in college football. And in both cases, we know why it's being discussed. It's one word: money.
Yeah,
because they know it's gonna, it's gonna create more revenue and yada yada yada. Which I guess now teams will probably start using more on fines. But that's a that's a story for another day. Because take a look at the Michigan situation. Do you think let's put it this way: it's $30 million, a pretty significant fine.
Right.
Do you think it's worth it for them? I think they'd probably say yes.
Yeah, probably.
So, anyway, but just in general, like in college basketball, we don't need to go down that road too. But like, we don't need to expand the playoffs. Like, there still needs to be some level of exclusivity of it. Like, they may look at the pros and be like, well, look at the NBA. It's like, more than half the team make the playoffs. Like, yeah, but that's not good.
Right.
Just because it happens doesn't mean it's a good thing.
Right.
Like, yeah, like I would like to keep it 12. I do like the change in the rule where, conference champions don't necessarily automatically get a top 4. Like, I think that kind of bit them a little bit last year. You're in, but that doesn't mean you're a 1 or a 4 seed.
Right.
Like, so, but yeah, just any conversation involves, hey, let's expand the playoffs. Let's do, no, don't do that.
Yeah. That's a good one. Definitely a good one. I would agree with you there. I am going to go, this might be a little dramatic here, but I am going to go with the I'm going to go with Jerry Jones, actually, because of the whole Micah Parsons situation. I mean, you got the quote from Jerry Jones, like, hey, we offered him all this, and then the agent told us to blankety blank blank. And then I started watching the documentary on Netflix. I'm on it, okay? Because all it is it's an ego thing for Jerry Jones. There's some parts of it that are pretty good, okay? And it's giving me like, oh yeah, I remember that in the 90s.
I was
and
gonna
that
say
sort of
like
stuff.
that's an interesting story with that Cowboys team in the 90s.
It is. But it's such an ego thing from Jerry Jones, and it's like to just kind of pump it up a little bit more where it's kind of sickening at times. Like, okay, I get it, but it's a little over the top. And I'm only through 2 episodes right now, and I got 6 more to go for this thing. So I'll finish it. I'm only to the point where they haven't won their first Super Bowl yet, so it's that bad already. And like you're already seeing this discourse between him and Jimmy Johnson.
I was gonna say, at some point, like what's gonna happen after that,
right? And like it starts off like how they're like best friends, and now all of a sudden there's disagreements on whose idea it was to trade Herschel Walker, and going back and forth and all that. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with the whole Jerry Jones thing. So bottom of the barrel. But I think there's a part in there too. It's like, he talks about wanting to have the soap opera because it's all the attention. And it's like, I was losing $30,000 a day and all that. I'm like, oh, poor guy. You probably got like $1 billion just in your pocket alone. So no, it was, but that's what I got. Are you going to watch it?
I will at some point here.
Yeah. Because it's given me the 90s.
It's an interesting story. Like, obviously, that Cowboys team in the 90s, there's a lot going on there. Like, and obviously not just like the Jimmy Jerry dynamic, but other things around. No, I'll watch it at some point. It's an interesting story to me.
Right. And it got me thinking, what would be another, because that's like an era, right? It's not just like 1 year. It's an era.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really getting in. I want to get to the Barry Switzer one because Barry Switzer's on there. So I'm curious with that one.
Barry will tell you like it is. So.
Exactly. But it got me thinking, like, is there another team kind of like during an era that they should do something on? And I think you got to do it while those people are still around, right? Because you want it firsthand account.
I'm just trying to think of this in my head, and the first one that popped up would be like the Shaq Kobe Lakers, but obviously you can't do that.
Right.
At least you can't do it. Everybody involved. I'm just trying to think offhand, but
because they already did the Penny Shack, so my magic, this magic moment.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of that. The only other one, and it was kind of a little bit more of a homer. I was like, I wouldn't mind. They've done like wide-ranging one, but like an in-depth 90s Packer one with Ron Wolf, Holmgren, Favre.
I mean,
can't have White.
But you can still talk about that, just how important that was.
Right. The one thing I will say that maybe I forgot about it, I didn't know how much of a, I'll keep it clean, jerk Charles Haley apparently was. There's stuff I can't repeat on how he got his way out of San Francisco. So I was like, ooh, okay. That's Hall of Famer, Charles Haley.
That's true.
But yeah, I don't know if it's just such a weird, it is a soap opera, those 90s Cowboys team. Like, I think Patriots are still a little too fresh right now.
It's a little fresh. And right now, I'm not sure you're going to get everybody involved.
Right. And we kind of followed that during the social media era.
Yeah. So it's different.
It is.
It's different.
But I don't know if like even the Niners, if they were really.
But I don't know. Like, is there anything like lightning rod about them? Like Montana, Young, Rice, like they have so many great players, but it's not like there was too much that was like, like if there was a teaser like, oh, you're not going to believe this story. It's like, okay, well, what would it be about the Niners? Like they were great, but it's not like they were controversial.
Right. No, I agree. So it's there. I will say there are parts of it that are interesting. So, but I'm going Jerry Jones, bottom of the barrel.
I feel like that's one you could just do pretty much every week. Like, think of just
if we have a Cowboys fan listening. I know somebody who's a Cowboys fan who's not a Jerry Jones fan.
So do I.
Yeah.
So do I.
But I'm just genuinely curious. Is that a wide prevailing majority do not like Jerry Jones? He is a personality.
Right. We don't live in that like bubble.
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just from what I've seen, I feel like it is.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it is too, but if there is, okay, how about this? If there's a Cowboys fan that is listening right now and you like Jerry Jones, let us know.
There you go.
Because I feel like that's the prevailing theory with this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I get it. Now, would they like him better if he wasn't general manager, do you think?
Yes. If he was just the owner, like if he was the owner and he still did, yes.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break and then we'll reset and do a little pump the brakes, full throttle. Brought to you by AJM Automotive. So, all right, quick break and we'll be back after these few words. Speaking of AJM Automotive, when your vehicle needs work, there's only one place you need to go, and that's AJM Automotive in Eau Claire. From oil changes and brake jobs to engine repairs and small engine repairs too, the team at AJM does it all. And they're honest, they're upfront, they treat you like a neighbor, not just another ticket. So if you want dependable work at a fair price, take it on over to AJM Automotive, located at 1919 Brackett Avenue in Eau Claire. Pump the brakes, full throttle time. Brandon, pump the brakes, full throttle. Right now, you would say Bryce Terang is a top 5 second baseman in all of Major League Baseball.
I think I'm going to go full throttle on that. At this point, I think there's a little bit of a reputation defensively that he's got, and then just adding the offense to the game. I mean, I don't think there's very many that are going to be able to give that combination of skills.
Yeah.
And as I am frantically trying to kind of look up and see if the numbers back this up, well,
I was looking at.
I would say according to Fangraphs, he currently is 4th in WAR.
Okay.
For
among
people
second basemen?
Among primarily second baseman. Ketel Marte is first, 4.3, and then you got Jazz Chisholm, you've got Nico Horner, and then you've got Bryce Terang.
Yeah, I was looking up batting averages earlier in the first hour among second basemen, and Bryce Terang, I think, had like the 5th in the National League. Then I went to like all of Major League Baseball, and he was still 5th. Like all the highest hitting second basemen were all in the National League, and some of them are, some of them I think didn't really qualify for second because they split some time over there too.
Right.
Like I was looking at home runs and such too, but tell me if this is kind of breaking news here. Jeff Passan, did you see this?
I did not.
Catcher Samuel Basallo and the Baltimore Orioles are finalizing an 8-year, $67 million contract. Just turned 21, one of the best prospects in baseball.
Got called up.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're seeing more teams kind of do this now, aren't we?
And it's very interesting because obviously they have Adley Rutschman.
Right. That's kind of why.
Kind of curious. I mean, he might be someone to watch going into the offseason then. Rutschman might, because the Orioles look to move them, because catcher's one of those spots. Like, it's tough to, like, you can even just split, but it's like, and use the DH, but still it's tough. Like, catcher's one of those spots where you kind of really need a 1 and a 2.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you're going to see teams do this.
Okay. So I wanted to, because, the Boston kind of did it a little bit this year too. Pump the brakes, full throttle. Micah Parsons will be playing with a different team this year.
I'm going to say pump the brakes, even though we've given every indication that's the case. But this will happen a lot, and then suddenly someone will open the checkbook, and then everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah.
So, once again, this is another instance where Jerry Jones cost himself a lot of money by trying to negotiate through the public and in the public eye and waiting to negotiate.
How much do you think that story is true, that he had a deal in place and then with Micah, and then the agent came in and said, stick it up your you-know-what? I don't think that's true.
I don't think so. Like, maybe they got a little bit down the road on it, but I highly doubt that it was like, okay, everything's here. You just need to,
right,
dot the I's and cross the T's. And then, so no, I think that's maybe a little bit embellishment on their behalf.
I think so too. I almost feel like it's like Jerry trying to get Micah to get a different agent or some weird thing, like, or kind of paint a bad picture of that. I know Eli, I don't know if you're still listening. Eli texted in the first hour about, Micah and the potential of Green Bay and such. Yeah, here's the text. What are your thoughts on Micah Parsons' situation? I heard Jerry threw more money at him than the highest quarterback is making, and Micah turned it down. Is there really a possibility that the Packers get Parsons? I'm going to say no. Could Green Bay theoretically do it with a cap? Sure, there's ways. But then you're going to be in really big salary
and with
cap.
And with just the trade compensation.
Right. I just don't see it happening. Mainly for the part, like, we had all offseason for Goody to potentially address that group, and he didn't do a thing besides a 4th round pick. So I do think there's a little bit of I think GMs do have a little bit of an ego at times. Like, those are his guys outside of Kenny Clark. That was a Ted Thompson pick. Devontae Wyatt is a first-round pick by Goody. Rashawn Gary is a first-round pick by Goody. Lucas Van Ness is a first-round pick by Goody. I think he wants to see his picks work out before giving up one of those guys. Now, that's not to say he wouldn't. I think maybe he probably did call. I mean, if all the reports out there, they were close to Camille or Mac.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
And that was a later trade, too. That was. Right around Labor Day.
Yeah. And, I mean, Randall Cobb told the story. He went to bed thinking they had him. And then Chicago swooped in, and we heard the whole John Gruden reason was they accepted the Chicago one because they thought the draft picks would be better, and it didn't turn out. So I'm not squashing the idea that Goody wouldn't make a move like that. I just feel like, given everything, when you factor in, I don't see it happening for Green Bay. I don't. Would I jump up and down if they did it? Oh, heck yeah, I would. But I can't see it happening. So I don't think he's on another team.
It's one of those things I got to kind of see it to believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. But I think I'd be shocked if he ends up getting traded, to be honest with you. Because it actually it's one of those, like, it actually happened.
Right.
It got to that point where it actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just imagine if Cowboys fans can't stand Jerry, what they would be like after that? I mean, for crying out loud. Holy moly. I mean, yeah, whatever. So, let's go pump the brakes, full throttle. After this Brewers and Cubs series, it is clear, because I've seen some people say this, it is clear the two best teams in the National League are the Brewers and the Cubs.
You know what? I'll go full throttle on that.
Okay.
And especially because coming into this year, what was the talk? Well, you better win the division because there's not going to be a wild card.
Yeah.
This division could have 3 of the 6 playoff qualifiers.
Yep.
The Reds are right there too.
Yep.
Dodgers and Padres have kind of beaten up on each other here these last couple weeks. We'll see about the Phillies. The Mets are, struggling still.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously earlier this year, the Brewers swept the Phillies. We'll see what happens again when they meet in a couple weeks. We know what the Brewers did to the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could make that case.
The Phillies one, I'm hesitant. I'm slightly pumping the brakes here because the Phillies are still there. Zach Wheeler injury, though, really affect that team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big loss.
That's a legitimate ace.
Right. And I know they got pitchers, too.
Yes.
Kyle Schwarber's on a tear right now. I mean, probably making a case
He's
to be
making
the
a
MVP.
case for MVP, yeah.
So that does worry me a little bit. So I think that's where I'm pumping the brakes just a little bit. And, okay, so if we power ranked them, would the Dodgers be 4th?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't put the Phillies below them.
Right. Isn't that kind of crazy, though, too?
It is.
To kind of say that. Now, the Dodgers could pull Spurs.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
know.
just the Dodgers could go into the postseason as the 5 seed.
Mm-hmm. Would you want to play them?
No. That's it. And
Yeah.
they would still get like. You would hear people talk about, well, I'm going to pick an underdog. I'm going to pick a lower seeded team. It's going to be the Dodgers. Like, I wouldn't blame them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would still get a lot. There would be a lot of movement there. There would be a lot of like betting movement there, even if they're like a wild card team, because still the Dodgers. That's just one of those teams. Like until you beat them in the postseason, they're going to be looked at as a favorite.
Mm-hmm. Pump the brakes, full throttle. The college football season does begin this weekend.
Full throttle.
But the Badgers, we know, will kick off next Thursday. Since they do kick off next Thursday, I got to ask you this now. Pump the brakes, full throttle, more than 5 wins.
I'm gonna go full throttle.
Ooh,
I may only be 6.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 6, like 6 and 6, 7 and 5.
So 5.5 is the line.
Yeah, 5 and it's a great line.
Yep.
I'm actually gonna go over.
Okay, Tucker Ashcraft's out and that. So I mean, a little nervous. I do appreciate. We did put a poll up earlier this week. I do appreciate the people who said 7 or more.
Good for them. I saw the poll and I didn't vote, but I was going to. And I was honestly going to go over it the highest possible, and I could just see if you would notice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I got to pump the brakes.
I know. And we've had this conversation off air. I think I'm a little more optimistic than you are.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because I just want to see what the Jeff Grimes offense looks like with this team. And maybe it's just kind of after a couple years, I'm like, you know what? I just kind of want to get back to run the ball.
Yeah.
And running the ball in like a way that makes sense. Like on paper, the idea of kind of the Phil Longo offense made sense. And it worked really well in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't know. It just always felt like Phil Longo and Luke Fickell weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
Like there was always just kind of weird comments and stuff. So it didn't really seem like they were in sync. Like to me, Jeff Grimes seems like a Luke Fickell guy.
Yeah.
Like they kind of had that similar mentality. We know Fickell's a lineman with Ohio State. He's kind of, that, guy that wants to, fight in the trenches more. Like, and this is something I've said even going back to, the Paul Chryst era. Like, there's a way that you can be a run first team that's still a little bit more modern than they were. And this might be it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can still be that team and have that identity, but you don't have to there's not just one way to do it.
Who has more wins this year, Wisconsin or North Carolina? Without, I don't know.
Yeah,
the
I don't
North
know
Carolina schedule off the top of my head, but are you at? Okay, maybe I'll just ask this: is there a little bit of intriguingness? If that's even a word from you about to see what the Bill Belichick era, kind of goes about this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're all kind of tired of it, but let's be real. I am curious to see how he does in college.
Yeah. I mean, if we get through the year one and he's 7-5, then some of that luster might rub off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm curious to see how it looks.
And there's going to be a lot of eyes that first game. I mean, they play Colorado this year too, I think. So, right? No, they don't. No, they don't. No. Wait, no, they don't. I think we mentioned that we would love to see that in a bowl game.
Okay. Yeah, that would be. I mean, that's the Styles clash.
Let's see if those two teams can finish at 7-5 and get in the same bowl game and play against each other. So,
yeah, because they start out with TCU in primetime.
That's right. Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's Labor Day night.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, let's do some more pump the brakes, full throttle. Pump the brakes, full throttle. Freddie Peralta is going to get 20 wins this year and be the first pitcher since 1986 for the Brewers.
Teddy
Higuera to get 20 wins. 15-5 right now.
Trying to go through my head, he's probably got like
6 starts, 7 starts.
I'm gonna pump the brakes. I'm gonna say it's 19.
I'm gonna say 18. I'm gonna pump the brakes too. But that's still a fan. I think again, that's kind of a little, overlooked and underrated that he's got the most wins in Major League Baseball right now. So
I mean, he'll get some down ballot votes for Cy Young. I mean, he'll maybe Cy Young, but like he'll get some 5ths and some 6ths and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna give you another chance now, dude. Pump the brakes, full throttle, but I'm going to phrase this differently. Yelly gets 30 and 100.
I feel like I almost have to keep saying no, so he does it. Like at this point, I'm just committed to being the. It's looking good. I mean, I'm still going to pump the brakes because I'm going to jinx him into doing it. I am committed to the bit.
Now, correct me. Do they have a comeback player of the year in Major League Baseball?
I don't know if they do.
I can't remember if they do. If they do, I mean, he'd have to be a finalist for that, I would think, right? I know he was having a good season beforehand. They do? Okay.
They do.
All right.
It was established in 2005.
Okay.
And last year it was Chris Sale.
Okay.
I mean, I think he would be in that conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just like he was hurt. Like having major back surgery, especially like at his age, like that is something significant.
Him and Brandon Woodruff, I think, would have a case.
I mean, and I think Yelich just more. I mean, he's gonna, have more time in this year.
Yeah. Boy. Okay. Say Yelly gets 30 and 100. Would he probably get more attention than Woodruff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Both incredibly
Both very
impressive.
deserving, but I just think that's kind of the nature of the beast.
Right. So, boy.
Hey, you know who won the NL Comeback Player of the Year award in 2014?
2014? Is it a Brewer?
He was a Brewer.
Is he still playing?
No,
Okay.
no. This was after his Brewers tenure. He was with the Marlins.
He was with the Marlins when he won it?
He was with the Marlins. This was after he played for the Brewers. I'll give you one more hint. He was in the Alumni Home Run Derby.
Jesus? No, not Jesus. Not Thames.
No. That was before things. No, it's Casey McGee.
Really?
Really?
Wow. Okay. I wouldn't have expected that.
I didn't either. That's why I brought it up.
Okay. All right.
There's some names on this list, man.
Wow.
Brad Lidge, Dimitri Young.
So they have a comeback, but they must not have the most improved player award.
No.
Because that's almost like
it's kind of a double-edged sword.
It is. It's like you sucked, but now you're better.
Yeah,
so.
like if you're like solid, it's like, boy, how bad must I have been if I'm winning most improved and I'm just good?
Like it's one of those is like, do you want the award or
do you want to be named most improved golfer at the Kasper Classic?
Hey.
Should we do that?
Hey.
I still think we need to give it a sportsmanship award.
Oh, I am going to be doing something next year for. I was talking to somebody about this, and the inspiration is based off of you.
Oh gosh.
It's going to be an award of some kind. Don't take offense to this, but it's like we know you're coming, but you're probably not going to win the title
I don't take
belts.
offense to that. That's like most people I golf with.
Right. So it's got to be an award for like a team like for Brandon's team or something. We know the team's not, but you still have something to shoot for. Maybe it's like whoever wins the title belt, you're in. The other teams are in contention for this one.
Yeah, because it can't be just like who had the
It can't be
worst
worst score because I don't want people shooting.
I don't want people tanking it.
Yep. So maybe it's like everybody else is in this running for this one or something like that. Got it. Because there was this tournament. It's
like the consolation title.
Kind of is. There was. Let me see if I still have. I do have the picture, but there was an outing in Minnesota. One of our managers here, I think he said his sister won it. And this was the prize. And I'm like, ooh, inspiration for next year, potentially. Yeah, it was a grand prize at a golf tournament in Minnesota. Look at this, Brandon. The wall of beer. Look at all of that.
I hope someone helps you load that in the car.
That's a. I mean,
That's a lot of beer.
You got kegs. You got.
I
12
would never
bags.
go through all that beer. Like
no,
ever.
No, but that was. I'm like,
Boy, every time you're invited somewhere, hey, I'll bring beer.
And it's different flavor. I mean, different.
Yeah, it looked like it was a good variety.
It is. So, yeah, the mind is pondering definitely for something like that for next year. So
first, I thought you were going to reference the Eye of the Ranger.
That's 2 weeks.
2 weeks in a row, we brought up
We've brought up
Ranger.
Walker, Texas Ranger. All right, that's it for Pump the Brakes Full Throttle, brought to you by AJM Automotive in Eau Claire. Let's take our final break, and we'll do some picks. Brewers, Giants. Who do we got winning this weekend in this series? We'll hit that up and more coming up after these quick words. All right, let's wrap up this crazy program here with some picks, shall we? Do some baseball picks. Final preseason
I was
game.
say, are we gonna pick
picks.
the preseason?
No, we're not.
No fights, no injuries.
Oh, I love a good training camp battle. A little fight.
Especially it should be on World Star. That thing was massive.
Yeah,
Like
it
wasn't
was.
like, oh, here's these two guys kind of off. Like I just and then like hearing the reaction like from the video from like the crowd, people was like, no.
Did you hear? So Keyshawn kind of denies saying this. Keyshawn Nixon kind of denies saying this. But did you see the quote? Apparently, he said. So this was from Matt Schneidman, who covers the Packers. Was there after another skirmish? Well, after practice, Elton in the middle, and LaFleur was not happy at Jenkins. Leonard Williams told Nate Hobbs he didn't know who he was. I love that. I don't know who you are, you know. And Keyshawn Nixon told someone they're talking crazy for a bald person.
Pretty good comeback.
So Keyshawn was asked about it, and he says, "Did I say that? I don't remember saying that." So I'm like, that might be one of the better
That's pretty
ones.
good trash talk right
Yeah.
there.
You're talking crazy for a bald person. Okay. Oh my goodness. So, all right, baseball games. Let's do it. We've got again, we're just picking the series.
Yeah,
coming up here. So we'll leave the Brewers and Giants one last. We've got Rockies, who are actually
they're not doing too bad lately.
bad, going up against Pittsburgh.
I'm gonna go Rockies.
Or Rockies too. Why not? Philadelphia. Yep, Philly. We've got this one actually started last night, but Boston and the Yankees.
I'm gonna go with Boston.
I'm gonna go Boston too. How about that? Houston and Baltimore.
Houston.
Yep, Houston. Kansas City and Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah, me too. Detroit. Toronto and Miami.
Toronto.
Did you see how last week there was a video because Dalton Varsho was in it, how they determined their fantasy football order?
No.
They were like dropping stuff from the ceiling in their stadium, and whoever got the closest to this
That's
thing.
fun.
Yeah. So I think they said Dalton Varsho's like the manager of the league. So yeah, I love the creative ways to come up with the order. The Mets and the Braves.
Mets.
Yeah, me too. Cardinals and Rays.
Rays.
Adrian Hauser's on the mound for the Rays today. So Twinnies and White Sox.
Twins.
Cleveland, Texas. I will go with Cleveland. Let's go Cubs, Angels.
Cubs.
Reds, Diamondbacks.
Reds.
Me too. Dodgers, Padres.
Seems like they've been playing all of their games these last few weeks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Padres. They bounce back. I think Dodgers swept them last week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go Padres bounce back here.
I'm gonna go Padres too.
Make it a little closer.
Yep. I'm gonna go Padres too. We've got the Athletics and the Mariners. I am gonna go with Mariners. And then Brewers, Giants.
I'm gonna go Brewers 2 or 3. I think they kind of bounce back here. Going to be some good crowds in there this weekend. I just think they're going to be excited to be back home.
Yeah, I'm going to go Brewers 2 out of 3 as well. So
they get a stretch here. I mean, outside of that trip to Toronto, like at the very least 3 of the next 4 series at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm curious how Sunday is going to go with the Euchre celebration and stuff. I know Brewers, I mean, every telecast is saying, get to your seats.
Yeah, get there. Hopefully people do. And they're opening a little earlier, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're going to tell people to get there early, you can't say, oh, we're not opening until 11:30 or whatever. So that's good.
Yeah. So I think they said they're going to broadcast it too, or some of it too. So,
yes.
Even on the radio, they are starting it early. The pregame coverage,
good.
They're starting it early too. So, they're I know Bob Costas.
They haven't really said a lot of people are going to be. They just said I think Brian Anderson said dignitaries, which is fancy. I don't know. That's like saying good guess, but we know Bob Costas is kind of emceeing it. So, I mean, I would imagine you'll have guys like
Probably Braun. He was really
Braun,
close.
they were
to-
close. Yeah.
Yep.
There'll be, and it's been said before, but I'm glad they're doing it when the Giants are in town because it feels like it's something Willie Adamas. It's kind of cool that he's going to be there for.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was necessarily the plan, but like he was someone that they were,
they obviously still love Willie. I mean, you hear Pat Murphy talk about him and that. So, I mean, I don't think
so I think that's kind of cool how that worked out. So he's going to be able to be there for that.
Yep. I think that's a good, Yep. Because, I mean, he was such a focal point for the last few years.
Right.
in
He
that
was
clubhouse
you feel like he was like the primary leader there.
Yeah.
So question for you.
Yeah.
Are we going to pick college football games?
Because
we got 'em. It is week 0, baby.
I hate that.
I don't really like it either.
It makes it sound like they don't count when they do. So Iowa State, Kansas State, probably the best game.
Farmageddon.
I love that. In
Ireland, yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, I am going to go Iowa State.
I'm going to go with the Cyclones too.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to go Iowa State.
Yeah, we got 5 D1 games here tomorrow. So
11 a.m. right away tomorrow too. So you can start your Saturday off. Idaho State and UNLV.
Rebs.
Yep, Rebs. Fresno State, Kansas, the Fighting Leipoldts.
Yep. I am going to go with Leipold. I'm going Kansas.
I'm going Jayhawks. Sam Houston versus Western Kentucky.
Phil Longo's debut.
Yeah. Do you trust him?
I'm going to go Western Kentucky, though. I'm going to go Big Red.
Yeah. I'm going Western Kentucky. And then a battle, Stanford at Hawaii.
This is the kind of matchup I would want to see.
Yep. Who are you going?
Stanford or Hawaii?
Yeah, I said Stanford or Hawaii. I said you were talking over me. I'm going Hawaii.
I'm going to go Stanford.
You would.
I do love that. It says a lot that it is week 0 because it is a primetime game on CBS and it's Hawaii. Like, I love Hawaii football, but like they're not up right now.
No.
It's been a struggle here last several years.
They are favored though.
Yep.
They are favored. So kind of do you want to do the Thursday one since you're not here? That's a long list.
That's a long list.
Let's just do
if you want to pick a couple, you can.
Nah.
Well,
yeah, let's do it because Wisconsin plays. So Miami, Ohio, Wisconsin.
I'm going to pick Wisconsin.
But do they cover it at 17.5?
I'm going to say they do. I'm going to say they do.
Okay.
I'm going to say like a 35-17. So just barely.
Wisconsin wins, but they don't cover.
Okay.
And then how about we do Buffalo at Minnesota? That's also
I'll take Minnesota.
Do they cover by 18?
Yes.
I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Yep.
Next Thursday.
I'm already looking forward to picking that slate of games next weekend.
Yeah.
There's some good ones.
The Texas Ohio State. Ohio State starting a true freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Archie Manning.
Clemson LSU. Arch Manning.
Yeah. I'm always going to say
I'm
Archie.
going to call him Arch Deluxe.
I'm always going to say Archie. So just get used to it. I can't. It's like people still say San Diego Chargers. So I'm just going to call it Archie. Yeah. It is what it is. So, we got like old school, even Sunday, like the Notre Dame Miami, throwback ish kind of day. So, yeah, those are going to be that's one thing I do like about college football. Like that week 1, you do get a couple of really good matchups. The only thing that stinks is that sometimes that loser, they fall down and they can never really get back up in the rankings
and then
times. But
it's like, and if you do beat a team and that team doesn't end up being very good, like.
Yeah.
Like, remember the year the Badgers played LSU at Lambeau and they won? And like LSU was like a top 10 ranked team, but then that LSU team was like 7-5.
Yep.
So it wasn't really that good of a win. It just looked like it at the time.
Yep.
I have seen some people float the idea of waiting like the first 3 or 4 weeks before you actually do a poll.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually kind of like, I can come around on that because so many times we are, we see that little number next to somebody, but they might not actually be that good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. What else? Where are you going to be at again today? Because we got high school football.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Cornell Lake Holcomb.
That's right. 8-man football.
Yep.
The battle for the shield.
The battle for the shield.
That's awesome. That is so cool. We need more high school stuff like that. So, okay. So we got that. We got preseason footballs wrapping up this weekend too. You think your Vikings should add another veteran wide receiver?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I'll be honest, the Harrison Phillips trade has a little surprised me.
Yeah.
I mean, he was if I could describe him in one word, it'd be steady. Like he was as an interior defensive lineman, a guy that would, take up blocks. Like he played a lot. He wasn't really injured. Like he was a good guy by all accounts in the locker room. But so that kind of surprised me. But that almost to me feels like that's setting something else up. Receiver, obviously, there's a lot of smoke about possibly Adam Thielen coming back because of Carolina. They just might go with the younger room. They've got some guys they like, and Hunter Renfrow has come off the scrap heap and sounds like he's impressing. So that's a possibility, maybe. Another spot I think they might keep an eye on is maybe for cornerback. Just maybe adding a veteran to that room a little bit more, but we'll see. But yes, I do think that they should be in the hunt for some sort of veteran receiver that can come in there and make a difference.
Yep. So it'll be interesting. And remember, once we get to those counts for everybody, when we see the rosters, remember this keyword: initial 53.
It's like opening day for baseball.
Yep.
It changes.
It's going to change
because then you'll see, oh, this team cut this guy, so then they're gonna claim this guy off waivers, and then this guy gets let go, and then because I think they can get him over to the practice squad, and yada yada. So yeah, it's
yep. So I want to throw this out there just really quick. If anybody is riding that Brewers bus and you're a listener right now, let me just make sure that you know the time change that we're leaving Eau Claire at 6:30 because of the Brewers.
Because of the euchre ceremony. You want to make sure you get down there and play time.
So when you bought tickets, it said 7:30. It is 6:30. I have sent out texts. So please confirm that you know the time change if you have not texted me back. Waiting for a couple more.
Yep.
Waiting for a couple more.
Only a couple, though, but
yeah.
Still. Or if you know somebody else, just double check with them so they know too.
Yeah. Or maybe if your name's not on the list, but you're going on it, it's whoever's on the list is the captain of your group and you're in charge. And no
6:30 a.m.
Or we're making a stop in Oakdale and that's at 7:50. So what?
No, if you want to meet there.
No.
I thought that's why you brought it up.
Well, we are picking somebody up in Oakdale.
Oh.
Yeah, there's one stop in Oakdale. So yeah.
It actually took me a second. I'm like, Oakdale. It sounds then just kind of mentally driving down 94 in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Oakdale.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep. So let me know if you know of the time change. That way we can all just sleep better at night and not stress about it. So all right, just a few minutes left here to go here. So yeah, final preseason game. It's over with. Sing the sad song. Gosh darn it.
Preseason for me though, it's to me it's how I am when I get to about middle of March for spring training. I'm just like, okay. The first game it's always fun because it's like, okay, oh, they're back. This is, but now it's just like, okay, let's get through it. Right now, okay, the players that are playing it, you're kind of fighting for some of the back end spots in the roster, which are important, but still
Yep.
When you can see the first weekend, you're just like, okay, let's get there.
Yeah. It's kind of still is a little weird for me though to have, hey, this is the final preseason game, but there's still a little bit of a gap yet.
Right, that week off, which I don't mind, but yeah, there's still it's not like before where you had the 4 preseason game and the last one usually on a Thursday.
Right. Yep.
Actually, it would have been probably next Thursday.
Right. Yeah, you're right. So, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Just gives, and I don't mind it because it's always such a time crunch then too for these front offices really quick. And I think for the most part, teams know who they're. I would say there's probably maybe 3 to 5 openings that they're not quite sure. They probably know the 48 out of 53 that they're going to keep.
Right.
It's not. I think if you're in a situation we got 20 some locks, you're in trouble.
Right. You might be a team that's in the Arch Manning sweepstakes.
Right. So I think for the most part, they got
jobs can be won this week, but not if you're a good team, not many.
Right. Yep. Nope. So all right. So we got that baseball. I feel like I'm missing something here. Football, high school's going on. We hit it all up.
I don't know.
I think we covered it all up, dude.
We covered our bases.
We did. So, yeah. Oh, your mom's going to the euchre game, isn't she?
Yeah, they're going this week. I believe they're going Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, geez.
So they always do that.
I'll be honest. This is the first time I've been at.
You gonna go meet up with them and take a picture with me? or for me. I'm not going.
I was going to say,
No, I'm not going.
Am I bringing a cardboard cutout of you
No.
or something like that? So I don't know. But I think this first time I'm at Ampham in a hot minute.
You mentioned that before. That last time you were there, it was not. It was.
I don't
still
think it was
Miller Park.
Ampham. I'm trying to remember last
Miller
time I was
Park?
there.
Yeah.
It's been. Have I been there since Hudson's been born? I don't know.
Are you flying solo?
No, Hudson's coming with.
Oh, is it good? Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's his first time down there, obviously. So
And that's, I mean, the bus.
it worked out because his second favorite player is Willie Adamas.
Oh, cool.
So
that's fine.
Yeah, that's
that's cool then.
So, yep. I just hope he plays. I think he will. Right?
He didn't take very many days off when he was in Milwaukee, so
yeah, I think he'll play. That's the one thing I always get worried about going to games like this.
well, especially
like baseball games.
because
yeah,
you know,
and the NBA's kind of turned that way now too.
100%.
You know, it's like, especially when you got a kid, it's like, gosh, I hope, because when we went to that game in the cities, his favorite player is Contreras, and we're walking through.
That's right.
And they had this lineup within the concourse, and it was not a good lineup. Like it was like all their. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like there were like Frelick wasn't playing, Contreras wasn't playing, Cheerio wasn't playing, Yelich was. I'm like, what? And then it was like all the regular starters ended up playing.
Nice,
so I don't know
nice.
if it was like an error or something like that. So at least he got to see Contreras play. So
That's good.
yeah, but no, it's yeah. The older I've gotten, I've appreciated going to baseball games more than football. If as weird as that may sound, like there's nothing like Lambeau, but it's just maybe it's because got a kiddo with, and it's a little bit easier to take in a baseball game than a football game. So, but yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. All right, shot clock's going to cut me off here in just a few seconds. Best of luck to all the football teams and that are kicking off their seasons tonight, and the other fall sports, prep sports that are underway too.
By this
so
time next
a lot
week,
of going
pretty much
on.
everyone will be
Exactly
going games.
Have a good weekend. DP Dance are up next. We'll be back same place, same time, Monday morning, 6 a.m. Talk to you then.